advertising here and there, all over on billboards and so on and so forth. But the thing is, oftentimes their goal is to just settle and move on. And that's not what you guys do.
Yeah, this is CD Longo, and you hear us talking a lot about maximizing the value of cases, but what does that actually mean? Well, as Tim said, there's lots of personal injury lawyers in St. Louis, and everyone handles cases differently. We focus on getting the highest dollar amount for your injuries, not just getting a resolution quickly. We're constantly tracking all the settlements and verdicts in the area. This helps us advise our clients on whether a settlement offer is too low. And if the amount of compensation being offered is too low, we are happy to file lawsuits and proceed to trial to ensure our clients receive an amount that is fair. Visit our website or Google us at Longo Biggs Injury Law.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
I'm Tim McKernan here with Action Jackson talking to you about Mark Hanna. TMA listeners have a lot to think through financially, whether it be saving up for their child's education or planning for their own retirement and everything in between.
Whether you're like me and just getting started with your financial planning or you're already retired, call Mark Hanna.
It all starts with a 15-minute phone call to discuss your needs and design the right strategy for you and your future.
Visit evergreenstl.com or give Mark a call at 314-889-0503 today. Mark Hanna offers securities through Equitable Advisors and insurance and annuity products through Equitable Network, LLC.
Live from the Michelob Ultra Studios, KPNT-FM HD2, Collinsville, St. Louis. This is TMA All Day. Hey, if you like the morning after, check out Balloon Party on 101 ESPN, HD1 by the way. It's Sports Talk with Tim McKernan and Action Jackson from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. each weekday, right after the morning after. It's the worst named show in the history of radio, but the content's pretty good, so check it out on 101 ESPN or get the podcast on the TMA app. Rise and shine, St. Louis. It's the Brown and Crouppen Morning After on KPNT-FM HD2, Collinsville, St. Louis. At the Morning After STL on YouTube and on TMASTL.com with Tim McKernan, Doug Vaughn, Iggy Strode, The Plowboy, and Action Jackson.
7:07 in St. Louis. You're listening to TMA, presented to you by Brown and Crouppen. Welcome, friends, to the Michelob Ultra Studios. It's our Munganess St. Louis Acura, Alton Toyota, 7 o'clock hour. Timothy Michael McKernan, Douglas Elvin Vaughn, Kenneth Iggy Strode, the Plowhawk, and Action Jackson with you here on a program that needs your involvement by texting in the EDF Group text inbox, 314-881-TMA5. Phone calls galore, 636-9004-TMA, and email in for our Design Air Heating and Cooling email today, the morning after, at InsideSTL.com. Doug, it is a Sadie Hawkins for the ages. I mean, take your pick. Where are we going here with the lead today? I don't know if you can go wrong.
No.
Doug, what's going to be 4th and what's going to be 17?
Yeah, how do they let that one go?
What's going to be 4 and what's going to be 17?
Figure it out.
I'm stumped by that. It's early, and I'm not ready for that kind of hard question.
I'll let Tim take it.
What's going to be 4 and what's going to be 17?
It's a riddle.
Well, you were in Chicago. You probably didn't watch the game.
The Mizzou
Chicago's
game?
Doug's town, see?
I absolutely watched the Mizzou game.
All right.
Chicago's my town, see? I did not see Edward G. Robinson.
And he was a pharaoh.
The Brooklyn accent. I guess it would be Mizzou. I guess that's the lead.
Now, is it Missouri
Is it 4 or
football or is it
17?
Missouri basketball?
Oh, well, let's forget what happened to Missouri basketball.
Jackson, how are you doing?
Bad.
Oh. They lost to a team-
Gooderbad.com, Jackson is bad.
They hadn't won a
Objectively bad.
game. They hadn't won a game, and they'd lost by an average of 20 points in those first five losses.
They are also on scholarship.
And they came into our house and stole our ball from our hardquarters.
Yeah, it sucks.
How do you explain that?
Can't. Sucks.
I mean, the balloon party text inbox, Doug, it's spinning like a lathe waiting for Jackson.
Who did they lose to? Some crap team like Jacksonville State or something?
Jackson State.
Is that who they lost to?
Jackson State. Yeah.
God.
A blood donor that they scheduled just for the easy W.
What happened to that salon that used to come to Columbia? Paul Mitchell?
Yeah. Paul Mitchell Salon used to come with very nice hair.
I mean, Doug, Aaron Nola is staying with the Phillies, and guess what? They're not happy in St. Louis about that. Missouri, 4th and 17. Iggy's riddle, I think I solved it. with the comeback win. ILL, I think, could have done a good thing for college football had they been able to beat Iowa. Just Iowa getting eliminated, even though I realize that means another Big Ten West team represents. You had the Blues looking like warm garbage on Thursday against a very tough San Jose team. And then Saturday, repeating the performance, even though Craig Berube changed up the lines. But then they brought out that same group, and they were able to get it done last night against Anaheim. Missouri basketball, the Billikens got worked over last night by the Shockers. And then Gobble Bowl on top of it. I mean, that's why, how could you, and I'm sure I'm leaving something out. But how could you go wrong with your Sadie Hawkins?
No. Billikens women's soccer got eliminated in overtime, 4-3 by Penn State.
Austin Eckert won his first PGA tournament.
Austin Eckert. Okay. That's
Stud.
probably not the lead.
Stud.
Sure you're not talking about Ludwig?
Or Ludwig.
Yeah.
Doug, Austin or Ludwig, your call.
Okay.
What the hell's his name?
Austin Ludwig.
No.
Ludwig Eckert.
Who the hell?
Whoever it was, he was a rookie. He's playing well, and he was the number one price guy on DraftKings.
Okay, that's not the lead.
I think you can make a
That's
case
not
for
the
it,
lead.
especially if the PGA Tour reported that Austin
No.
Eckert won.
Yeah.
That's the story we're going to drop when the producer says, out of time.
Weather needs to get to the 5-day.
Kill the last 30 seconds. We're dropping that.
Ludwig Aberg, I think.
It's tough. Is it Doug? Is it Aberg or Abear?
I've never heard of the gentleman.
It's on the Ryder Cup.
I've still never heard of him.
Yeah, that's not the big story. I had him on my fantasy team, but I had 4 guys miss the cut.
God, it's going to be the lead, isn't it? It's going to be the lead.
No, I had 4 guys miss the cut along with the winner. It's pretty bad.
The winner missed the cut, but then was awarded a special exemption on Sunday.
I had the winner, and I had Svensson who finished 5th. I had 1 and 5, and then 4 missed cuts. Terrible.
Okay, that's not
the lead.
No, that's the story we're dropping. Because the weather guy just keeps going on and on and on.
Doug, it's like a flashback. Iggy, I am so sorry. I really am. Because me not being at Gobble Bowl screams Tim just skipped Gobble Bowl. And that was so on my mind. But I think, Jackson, I was telling you on Thursday I was sick. I don't know if you recall that.
I do.
Okay. And I thought, okay, I'm just not feeling good. And then it carried all the way through yesterday. So this was a true sickness. This wasn't, oh, I don't feel like going sickness. And I feel terribly about it because you work your ass off on this thing all year round. And the intent was to go with my 6-year-old and hang out. And I felt like warm garbage throughout. Had to cancel our anniversary dinner on Saturday night. Got reservations at a place that I don't even know how. We were just very lucky to get them. Had to cancel that.
Paulie
Not Polymatos. Not
Tim will
Polymatos.
get in there.
Lamba.
Nice.
So we called an audible. Doug, you ever take a Z-Pack?
I never have.
I didn't even know what those were.
Jackson, are you familiar with this?
I've heard of them. I've never had to take one myself.
It's like heavy on the zinc.
It's like an antibiotic, isn't it?
Yeah, heavy antibiotic. Yeah.
But my doctor told me to take a COVID test on Saturday morning because it now had been 48 hours. So I was off, but I also just happened to be sick while I was off on Thursday and Friday. And no COVID, took the Z-Pack, was still feeling like crap as of yesterday afternoon. But anyway, so I am very sorry. How was your Gobble Bowl experience?
Don't apologize. And who would say Tim skipped?
I don't know. It's just something that's on my mind.
Several of the listeners, you know how they are.
No, I even told you. I said, don't apologize, man. Your health's more important than coming out here. So I understood totally. It was a great day. Sold out as always. Tons of people came out to buy tickets. And it went so smoothly this year. I mean, it always goes smoothly, but it takes a while to give everything away. And I think it's because Rebecca Thompson came out and she volunteered to help.
Rebecca Thompson.
She's good people.
She is. She asked if she could help, and I said, sure, we can always use people to help. And she came up with the idea, and I've thought of this, but it's too much work for me, so I wasn't going to do it, to put things in order, because usually when I take a break and I let Andy Hansom get on the mic, you know, Nina Lasky, who also helps,
Nina Lasky.
She checks the raffle prize tickets and gives things out. And she doesn't know the autographs and the baseballs and things like that. So if I take a break and that's coming up, she'll just pick any ball. So Rebecca said, why don't we just go in order? You give away and we'll go right to left. So everything was in order. So everything went quickly. And
Why would you usually go out of order?
Good question.
well, I just put things out where they look good. I may put a ball over here, a bobblehead here, a jersey there, whatever. I don't take the time to put them in order because everything's in different boxes. I have to go, okay, now where's that one? I got to go. It takes too long. But Rebecca did it. And everybody came up when their number was called. I wasn't have to call numbers 20 times. And so for some reason, we gave out the last raffle prize, and they were still in the third game. Normally, we got like 10, 15 things left when they're done bowling. And everybody got done. My family was the last team to get done. Everybody was done, and they still had 7 frames to go.
Well, why were they going so slow?
Well, they like to have cocktails and talk and have fun. And
You weren't happy with the pace of play?
No, they were
Did you fire a wedge into them?
They were fine. I said, can my family please hurry up? People are waiting. But yeah, it was great. And I got to thank Horson was Wacko. And Tim also agreed with this. You got to separate those golf things. And I did.
Well, you're talking about, Doug, sometimes it is a riddle. You're talking about somebody donated a St. Louis Country Club round, and many of our listeners are members. Somebody at the Warson Woods Wacko donated the Algonquin round, and then what was the third one?
And I think
Dalhousie.
Yeah, Dalhousie. And then I had 4 rounds or 8 rounds at Far Oaks, a foursome at Gateway, a foursome at Crystal Springs Quarry, and a foursome at Stonewolf. So I put the local courses in one package, St. Louis Country Club by itself, Dalhousie by itself, Algonquin by itself. And it probably raised $400 more than I did last year when I put them all together.
No doubt.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a good idea. So, yeah, we had a lot of the auction items went to Kenny Biff bought the Kenny Loggins. He wanted to thank Goldfinger for all the stuff he's done for him, and Goldfinger's a big Kenny Loggins fan. So Biff bid on the Kenny Loggins. I think he spent $500 for it.
Nice.
So we made a lot of money, and everybody had a great time, and thanks to Cave Springs Lanes.
There you go, Doug.
Who went the low bowler?
Larry Nickel.
God, I love that.
What'd he roll?
That's like 5 years.
I love
I think
that.
I think his series was less than the high game.
The Hawk was up, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the lanes are a little tough for him, but I think he shot
How's the oil at
I think he shot a 180 total for 3 games. Some guy shot 900 for 3 games. He shot 3 300s.
What?
What?
Well, it's 9-pin no tap.
Oh, so okay.
But his last game was legitimate. He had 12 strikes, no 9-pins, but he shot 900. Don Seidel, he wins every year. So yeah, it was a fun afternoon. Raised a lot of money, and everybody had a great time.
Ken Strode, Megan Meyer Foundation,
a
Doug.
900 series.
Yeah, 900.
Well, that'd be perfect.
He was perfect. For 3 games, he was perfect.
Now, how was the weather for you that morning packing up the ride? I know
Wasn't bad.
you questioned the 28 degrees.
Yeah, a little chilly. I didn't really have anything to pack up because God loved Tina when she came over and let me borrow some of the Megan Meyer Foundation dollies that they have to move stuff for my move, and she brought over some boxes. And I said, and all the Gobble stuff was in the middle of the living room. So between all the boxes I got packed up and my kitchen stuff, there's like 80 things in the living room. She goes, why don't I just pack those in the car now, and then you don't have to move them to your new apartment and then move them next Saturday. So really, I had the booze in the car and I had the trophies in the car. I really didn't have to pack anything. So I had 830 Recreator also came out to help, along with Nina and Rebecca. We just unpacked the car at Cave Springs, and everything went great. So had a lot of great volunteers. A lot of listeners showed up. So it was a fun afternoon. It's good. I only get to see some of these people like once a year. Like Sarah B., I saw her a couple times this year, but Sarah B. I usually only see once a year.
She's a treat. And she made Doug a little Arnold Palmer's for himself at
She
the
did.
trivia.
Special Arnold Palmer that
Yeah.
were wonderful. Thank you for
always
that,
great.
Sarah B.
Nate in Tallahassee is not happy, Doug. He's been kind of missing.
Well, because he was banned for a year or a month.
Oh, has he been banned?
Well, for a month after he said, if you hit a 230, I won't text in for a month.
Wow.
So he was actually
Forgotten about
good on
that.
his. On
He
his
did.
back.
He did lay low. Thrilling radio, fellas.
Oh, sorry, we're talking about a charity, which I'm sure you've never given to, you've never been part of.
From the fan page, and it really pissed me off.
You
Yeah.
don't believe in giving to charity, so sorry, we're talking about charity.
Nate Iggy apologized. So he had been banned for a month, and he honored it because
He
I don't think. Jackson, do we have a setting where somebody can be banned for a month?
Certainly not.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a massive gap between October 4th
Wow, Doug, Nate in Tallahassee's a man of honor.
and
I guess so.
November.
respect that.
It's self-imposed.
I would have never followed that.
Sure,
Do you think he's a man of honor?
Yeah, I give him credit. When he made the bet and he lost, and I said, we were not going to hear from you for a month, and he didn't. So
Is it
and then he
possible
comes
he's
right-
texted in under a different name?
Ooh, Bill.
Could have, but
Not with the same number.
I'll just say that he honored it, and then he comes back his first day eligible and doesn't like us talking about charity.
Let's just. Wasn't it way better without him?
You would have banned him again?
No, I think
I do believe in charity.
big old guy or whoever that guy is goes off and plowed.
Big old fan, I believe he's calling in.
Yeah.
Big old guy.
He took over for.
Big old guy.
He took over.
636-9004 TMA. That is how you can call in Big Old Fan or Big Old Guy. Do you want to support the EDF Group as a sponsor of the TMA text inbox? It's real simple. Do you have a fire extinguisher where you work? The answer is yes, you certainly do. So please email the EDF Group at fire@theedfgroup.com so a technician can come out and explain to your team how the EDF Group can save your company money. Again, that email address is fire@theedfgroup.com. The EDF Group is high and will prevent your facility from having high fires. Experience the EDF Group difference. Learn more at theedfgroup.com. Doug, I think the listeners need to know who our title sponsor is.
Brown and Crouppen. Brown and Crouppen would be our title sponsors. If you have a potential personal injury case, Brown and Crouppen is the local law firm here to serve you. I'm sure you know their name. They've been around St. Louis a long time now. The firm was founded in 1979, so it's 44 years old. Terry Crouppen, Andy Crouppen, and Ed Herman are the principals. They've been in here. Lovely gentlemen. Love their Cardinal baseball. Love everything about St. Louis, which is why they've established their new office down there on the hill. They are here for the long term, and they are local guys, not like some of these national guys you're seeing on TV trying to get your business now. Brown and Crouppen have been here. They know the St. Louis area better than any other law firm. They've been around. They know all the lawyers. They know the courts. They know the judges. They know everything that's going to be important for your case. They'll give you a free evaluation. They work on a contingency basis. No upfront cost to you. If you don't get paid, they don't get paid. And they've won more than $1 billion in compensation for their clients. So if you think you've got a case, give them a call and pick their brain, and they will let you know if you should move forward. If you think you may need Brown and Crouppen services, call them at 314-222-2222 or go to brownandcrouppen.com. Make sure you let them know that you heard it here on TMA. Remember, the choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising. Past results are no guarantee of future results, and every case is different and must be judged on its own accord.
There you go.
And the two you just talked about, I'm sorry, Tim, the two you just talked about, two sponsors, EDF Group. Christopher was out there Saturday. He bid on the Jeff Burton bobblehead and then invited me and Chrissy Blake to dinner in Olive Oak. And got to thank Danity Stack. I got to bring it in tomorrow. I wanted to bring it in today. I forgot. You know, when you go to a football game or sporting event, you got the stick with the guy with somebody's head on it, whether it's a player or what, they hold up the big head.
Mm-hmm.
Danity Stack made one of Terry Crouppen.
Oh, great.
So I'm going to bring it in.
Presenting sponsor.
Put it on the wall.
Yeah, we should have that here.
I'll bring it in tomorrow.
Nice. It'll be like Pardon the Interruption set where there's just
Kind of. We're kind of
floating
getting that way
heads.
now. Only you can't see a lot of the junk
Learn
beneath the
is
YouTube.
right over my left shoulder in the Michelob Ultra Studios. Michelob Ultra, 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbohydrates. That's 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbohydrates. Studio sponsor here on TMA, Michelob Ultra. We are in the Munganess, St. Louis Acura, Alton Toyota, 7 o'clock hour. Full dais with you after I was vacationing on Thursday and Friday. And Doug, I was vacationing in part because I have 9 days that I have to use between now and the end of the year, but also because we were working on, Jackson was with me, KG No-Town was with me, and Peter Repp, who we hired to be the general manager of Sound Story. And today, Doug, Sound Story opens up in Seattle, Washington.
Oh, does it really?
Minneapolis, Minnesota, Cincinnati, Ohio, and West Palm Beach, Florida, and of course right here in the home of the best fans in baseball and soccer, St. Louis, Missouri. So that's what we were working on. That's why I think I got sick, because I wasn't really sleeping and just working constantly. So I'm very grateful to all of the people who were involved in helping make that happen.
What you got in Seattle? Mitch in the morning?
Mitch in the morning. That's Joe. That's where
Sweet.
Joe had disappeared to. And I said, you know what? If I ever start a business and bring on investors, we're going to go work on Mitch's program. and bring Mitch. I wonder if Mitch is still
Big
doing
show.
his show.
Yeah,
You know,
sure,
Joe would
yeah.
Joe would just disappear.
Yeah.
And we go, where's Joe? He's in the back. He's in the back studio doing Mitch in the morning in Seattle.
Mitch has
What
now
you think,
changed
Al?
to Mitch Unfiltered.
Oh, Doug. Sounds like he's a Takesmith now.
Wow.
I bet he's a
went
controversial
rogue.
host.
Oh.
I could absolutely see it. And for those of you for Black Friday week here as TMA listeners who have not done a sound story, you can go to mysoundstory.com, get a gift card for the holidays, and for Black Friday week, 20% off. 20% off on a gift card. Click, click. Holiday shopping is done, and the promo code is TMA. That gets you 20% off at mysoundstory.com. And now we're offering video as well, Doug, a 3-camera shoot. So you may want to come in here under the guise of having your mother or father interviewed, or your grandmother, grandfather. But in reality, you can get a video of Doug doing the interview. And I could see some people just wanting that and then not wanting to be so blatant as to DM you for video.
Especially with my new hair, Tim.
Yeah, the tufts. Yeah, boy, it's coming now. It's even thicker.
This is Hair Haven over here.
It actually is.
Can they pay just for the video? We really don't want you to
we
talk
just
to my
want
parents.
Doug.
But
Can we
you
have a
just
video of Doug
videotape
interviewing somebody else? We just want the Doug video. mysoundstory.com, promo code TMA, and get 20% off. We have now added, Jamie Rivers is not going to be available, at least out of the gate, but Anthony Stalter on the fast lane, you will hear it there. We are now in a variety of different stations in addition to our Hubbard stations here. So mysoundstory.com, and you can always get a gift card. You can do it over Zoom, you can get audio, or you can do what we've been doing since the beginning, which is audio. That's up to you. mysoundstory.com, promo code TMA. And think about it. What is the charge for Doug doing a sound story? Topless. That's from The Hunchback of Owen Castle. Is that something that I didn't know that you were offering that?
I'd probably charge another $5. Whatever the fee
That's very
is. Yeah,
reasonable.
another $5.
So it's like an a la carte. Would you like Doug topless?
Right.
And then in parentheses, $5.
$5.
Better go more than that because everybody's going to ask for topless now.
It's $2.50 per nip.
For the record, Doug looks absolutely delish in HD video. You're going to want the 3-camera shoot. That's from KG in O-Town.
Oh, yeah, probably so.
Wow, there it is, KG in O-Town.
Another $5.
On top of it. I guess I'll be on the St. Louis Bucket List podcast. I don't know if that's, I think it's debuting Wednesday, but did that as well. So we'll be on Instagram. That thing has 155,000 followers. Jackson, did you follow that before it got involved in the program?
No. I was aware.
155,000 followers.
I was aware of it.
Largest St. Louis Instagram account, I hear tell.
Really?
Probably
I would have
is.
thought it was like a Clayton divorcee with duck lips, but apparently not.
Or a
So I
blues
thought
player or a
that'd be
Cardinal
Stars
player?
pick. Well, I don't. I think athletes. I was not included in that.
I wonder if that's the one that asked me, and I said no.
Oh, I'm sure they did. Probably before Tim. I'm sure they wanted you.
No, I turned down a podcast.
Sure, you turn
St.
on.
Louis
Probably
one.
every day.
No, they just wanted to talk about me. I said, I don't want to go talk about myself.
God bless America.
I got to tell you, I'm going to fold. I just think it's real.
No, it is.
It's
I
too
can't
random
remember.
to not be.
I think I'd have remembered St. Louis Bucket List, but it's one I never heard of, and the 2 people doing it, I never heard of them. I figured they probably got 5 people watching. And I said, I really can't. I'm so busy.
Not big. You're so busy. What are you busy with?
Well, I wasn't going to say I don't want to do it because I don't know you guys, but
because you want to be here. You're subscribing to what we do. So, I mean, if you want to go on there and, talk about Giambi or anybody else, be my guest.
Okay.
Mike in Long Beach, what's up, Mike?
maybe it was him that asked me. And I said, no, nobody's
Francesa?
listening. You don't have any subscribers.
Tim, it sounds like Sound Story was able to expand because you had Iggy out there clearing markets. How about giving the old traffic cone the shout-out he deserves? That's from the Austin Oligarch. You cleared markets, in South Florida, didn't you?
South Florida for Steve Bunyard and Sports Illustrated Golf Plus.
Right?
Well, Steve Bunyard.
This is one of the stories I guess I must have slept through.
Oh,
or
you missed
followed
I only heard this
through.
one time.
He traveled through
Steve
with
Bunyard.
a little briefcase. He was like a little busman.
No, I visited them all. And then we cleared most of them. But then they weren't happy when I got back. And my per diem, I went to a seafood restaurant on the water one night and spent like $150.
Why would you do that to the company?
He wasn't happy with that.
Steve Bunyard wasn't?
Yeah, he wasn't happy with the money I spent for dinner.
I wouldn't think so. That's a little excessive, isn't it, on expense account?
Well, it's Florida. I mean, there's nothing cheap. I'm in Miami,
Yes,
and I
there
had
is.
some cough fritters, and
It's not $155 to eat everywhere in Florida.
well, it was where I went.
Also, Hard University.
I had a bottle of wine, too. So.
Tim, St. Louis bucket list, STL bucket list is great. It ruined LeGrand's for all the housewives with golf carts and duck lips to have charcuterie social hour for the locals. That's from the South City Hoosier aficionado. What did they do with LeGrand's? I feel like when I was on that podcast, we talked about LeGrand's. Doug, what happened at LeGrand's? What do you get? I get the legend.
I've never been to LeGrand's.
Oh, Bill, I get the legend.
Had a little legend on Friday.
Did you really?
Yeah. It's outstanding.
Can you get a sloppy Giuseppe?
No.
Well, that's Adriana's.
Yeah, come on, Doug.
Yeah, give it the program.
Well, I thought maybe other places had copied it.
I love LeGrand's. Tom LeGrand.
Let's get back to you.
Was he the one on the podcast?
No, he comments a lot on my.
LeGrand's podcast.
He comments a lot. He comments a lot on my Facebook stuff. Tom LeGrand. So
I don't think he's related to the family.
no, well,
Well, he's still a guy named LeGrand.
well, LeGrand's comments quite a bit.
Still a W.
I'm yelling at my radio. Can we just not today with Ken? Please make it stop. Bring on Lisa Ann. She's like Ken repellent. Put her on, cut her mic, and talk Mizzou footpat. Doug, that's from Brian Henshin. What did the Colts do yesterday? Bye week? Bye week.
Well, Viva la Strode! You listen every morning and you bitch about this. Every time I talk, you bitch. Oh my God, it's not that bad, is it? Flowsy, I don't like that comment.
Little Beer Cats is sending in pictures of a lass with a nice ass, actually.
Or his prom pictures.
What is he in it? Well, I don't know what
Looks like
kind
he's
of
at the
prom
lake.
they run, but he is in a tank top.
He's wearing a TMA hat.
Why would you
is this
send
a
us that
story?
photo?
I don't know. Oh, hold on. Yeah, there's a story. Doug, did you see it? Girl's got
No.
a nice ass.
Gosh,
she looks like she might be attractive, too. Morning Boys would just like to say I'm looking forward to seeing everyone at the year-end awards coming up. That's December, what date, Jackson?
14th.
14th at Hot Shots Webster Groves.
Yep.
But there's been one thing keeping me up at night, not just the thoughts of how can I be more like Tim or did Doug enjoy last night? No, it's have I done enough to be a candidate for Rookie of the Year like I said I was going to be last year. Now, not being eligible with my age to win Listener of the Month puts me at a disadvantage, but I think my resume puts me at least in the race. I am quite literally the leader of the second generation. I bring TMA to all the universities I visit, and most importantly, I am the son of not only the January Milagro Tequila Listener of the Month, but the first ever Listener of the Month. So success runs in my blood. Just would like to put that out there. Oh, and here's a picture of me on spring break getting the honeys to wear some TMA merch. That's from the humble leader of the second generation, Little Beer Cats.
Huh. So this gal's wearing TMA merchandise?
She's good looking from what I can tell.
Oh. Well, that does make him a strong
So now he's the
candidate.
Rookie of the Year.
Who else is it going to be?
Well, he's not going to get my vote.
Well, who
Well, I'm
else would you
saying
vote
he
for?
eliminated one of the votes with Biggie, so that's a tough one.
Why
Yeah.
wouldn't he get your vote?
He's obnoxious, just like his father.
Oh, another enemy. Well, he comes from a long line of ketchup marriers. I mean, that's pretty good in my book. That's an essential service.
I think I'm with you, dude.
And what's his job where he says,
I think he's a student.
Oh, is he?
I think so.
Why is he going to all the different colleges?
Get ass.
Because he's a student.
Well, when you're a student, don't you stay at your one school? What's he going to all the other ones for? Plugging TMA.
Oh, is that what he's doing? Marketing.
That's what he said.
Oh, what a great gig.
That is a good gig.
You're just traveling on someone else's time to talk about
Hey.
HD2.
You ever listen to an HD2 show in St. Louis?
Hey,
Here's a bumper
shirt.
sticker. You want to put it on your ride?
But who else would be a candidate even for Rookie
Well,
of the
we'll
Year?
think about it, but it's not him.
It is him.
Guys, people are too critical of the charcuterie business. When I throw a cocktail party, I want one of those in a good place, and a good one takes hours to put together. I don't have that kind of time, but I do have the money to pay a Ledoux mom to make me one. Doug, that's from Mr. Licks.
Okay. How long does it take to put together a charcuterie board?
Oh,
a few
God, you
olives,
have
chop up some cheese,
You have
fine
absolutely
meats.
no idea.
Oh, come on. How long can it take?
It's an hour and a half.
Oh, it can't.
Hour and a half is typically what an average charcuterie board
I can
would
do it
take.
in 10 minutes. Grapes
Yeah,
over
with
here,
like-
nuts over here. Here's your cheese. Here's your salami. Done.
I don't know.
It doesn't seem like it'd be real hard.
What about the spread cheese and like the bruschetta?
Well, what
How
are you
long does that take?
taking out of the icebox and putting it in your
Stop saying icebox. No one has used an
Charcuterie
icebox in
board, icebox.
70 years.
Well, I'm an old school.
I am an old.
And as far as Rookie of the Year, I mean, I think the leader has got to be Lipstick Glass. She came out of nowhere at our TMA baseball game, and she's been here ever since.
Still
I
haven't
know.
met her, and she was apparently at trivia night.
Didn't she run away from us? Like when
Oh,
we,
yeah, she ran away from Iggy, didn't she?
Yes.
Or she ran away from somebody.
like didn't you
Oh,
say
the trivia night. I
come
mean,
meet my friend lipstick glass, and she saw us and
Oh,
then
yeah.
ran.
She said she didn't hear.
Scrammed.
She said she didn't hear.
Scrammed.
May I join you?
That's not what she said.
She took off, but
I think JR is in the running for Rookie of the Year, right?
He's had a nice year. He's had a very nice year.
I mean, is
Jeremy
he a rookie
Rutherford?
though? Yeah.
he was on with us last year, wasn't
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
he's probably
true.
listened more than
The Colonel will be on with us at 9 o'clock, Doug. Colonel had an up and down 24 hours. If you want to expand it, an up and down 72 hours with the comeback against Minnesota. Jackson probably rock hard for that, I would imagine, were you?
Yeah.
And then limp
then-
against Jackson State.
Then the Florida comeback victory on Saturday night, and then at Doug, all the Missouri fans united, feeling wonderful visions of playing the Washington Huskies in the Fiesta Bowl or the Penn State Nittany Lions in the Peach Bowl, and then 24 hours later, Jackson State in basketball happened. So the Colonel will talk it over with us coming up at 9 o'clock to get his perspective on that. He is presented to you by James Carlton of the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency. And we have the Design Air Heating and Cooling email of the day, the morning after at InsideSTL.com. Any giveaways this week, Jackson? I feel like sometimes I skip it, but I don't see one.
No, sir.
Peter.
No, sir.
Okay. We do have 20% off at TMA STL Shop for Black Friday this week. You don't even have to enter a promo code. When you go to TMASTLShop.com, want to get your TMA merch, 20% off this week at TMASTLShop.com. And Design Air is the sponsor of the email of the day, the morning after at InsideSTL.com. Your current standings: Blueberry Pop Pop with a 2-goal lead over JV golf coach. The Calcified Ear, Fancy Gentleman, Amanda Groin, Dogtown Tyler from Spartanburg, Buck Swope, Cucky, and 830 Recreator, all with 1 win. Design Air, sponsor of the email of the day, official HVAC provider of TMA and the Tim McKernan Show podcast. It's Design Air, heating and cooling online at designairservice.com. I believe finally, not that I'm looking forward to, but I believe finally the cold weather has arrived.
Yeah,
And
this
it's
week's
coming,
gonna
Iggy. This
be-
is it.
This week, lows in the low to mid 20s, highs in the 40s. We're not getting out of the 40s for the next week.
That's it. Yeah, I mean, I see on Thanksgiving it looks like a high of 57. I don't know what happens, but then everything else is in the 40s going forward, and Doug, now settle in. It's rainy,
Yeah, well,
but we had a good run. I mean, how can you argue with
fantastic runs.
How can you argue with it? But that means you're going to need the furnace. DesignAirService.com is where you go. Click book now, and now the next thing you know, it's all taken care of with the great Seth Goldcamp of Design Air Heating and Cooling online at DesignAirService.com. Official HVAC provider of TMA and the Tim McKernan Show podcast. And Doug and I are clients, Design Air Heating and Cooling. Jackson, tell me about Circa.
Sure, I'd love to tell you about Circa. That's Circa Sportsbook, which is now available, of course, in the great state of Illinois. So if you're looking to do some wagering, you can do so with the Circa Sports app. If you live here in St. Louis, you just make the short drive across the river. Or if you already live in Illinois, you sign up for the Circa Sports app, because the Circa Sports app is sports betting the way it should be, with big app bets, high betting limits, tight money line splits, and the best customer service around. They're not going to limit you if you just start winning. That's not what they do. There's some other sports books who might start limiting you once you start winning. Not Circa. They encourage you to win. They also encourage you to shop the lines. Take a look at some of the other lines across Illinois Sportsbook, then come back to Circa. I'm fairly confident you're going to like the lines over at Circa more, because the Circa Sports app is sports betting made by sports bettors. So visit circasports.com for more details and get ready to start betting like a pro. If you or someone you know may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER or text ILGAMB to 833-234.
There it is, Circa Sportsbook, wonderful sponsor of the program. Another disaster for me in the Circa millions. I would say this was like bad gamblers, all due respect, probably had good weekends. Because, Doug, would you say it was one of the chalkiest Saturdays and Sundays you can recall in all your year of handicapping?
Oh, my many years. I don't think there was a single big upset, was there?
2 top 25 teams lost, but if I'm not mistaken, they both lost to higher ranked teams.
Yeah, there was nothing that just
Tennessee.
made you go, wow, look what happened.
Do you call them tenor?
I don't.
Tennessee lost to Georgia. No sweat there. I loved Tennessee and the points. The number actually got down to 8. So I'm sure many People got paid there, and then who's the Oregon State? Oregon State lost by 2 to Washington, and those were the only, if I'm not mistaken. I guess James Madison, but I don't think James Madison was in the college football playoff rankings. They were ranked in the other ones. Either way, there was a team that looked like they were going to lose in the top 10 on Saturday night. So help me, and I don't know what you were thinking watching this, Doug. Before Florida even took the lead, Missouri was leading. And I said to my wife, because we were having a hot anniversary night of me taking pills and watching Missouri football, super hot, I said, I got to be honest with you, they're going to lose this game. And this was, I guess, in the third quarter. So it was before Florida came and took the lead. At the end, 31-30, or did they take a 30-28 lead? I guess the final score was 31-30. Hell, whatever. Point is, Florida kicked a field goal to take the lead. And I don't know where that came from. I think when the backup quarterback came in, he brought a level with the ability to move that caught Missouri's defense off guard, but Missouri's tackling throughout the game was terrible. And for whatever reason, just not able to really consistently get it going offensively, in particular in the red zone. They moved it down the field, but they couldn't turn them into touchdowns. Some bad breaks there with bad penalties and just catches like Luther Burden, for example, that were overruled, and that was the right call. But holy crap, I thought, wow, this is going to be super unfortunate. And 4th and 17, how do you do? What were you thinking right before the 4th and 17? Brady Cook to Luther Burden.
I was thinking, well, they can finish, I guess, 9-3. It's a pretty good year.
Go play Notre Dame in the ReliaQuest Bowl.
Yeah, it's been interesting. I'm sure Florida's kicking themselves over how could you possibly allow a 4th and 17 pass complete.
They're not going to a bowl game now because they're not going to beat Florida State.
Probably not.
I wouldn't rule that out.
But sometimes they bend the rules for teams that have big followings.
Both of them have backup quarterbacks.
It was a terrifically entertaining game.
God, was it
Mizzou
ever?
football hadn't been like this since Chase Daniel was leading the charge.
One of the things that stands out to me about it, and we'll certainly get into the details of the game, but to have that crowd was incredible. And I think what some fans worry about with the last home game, whether it be the week before Thanksgiving or that Black Friday game against Arkansas, is the students go home. And, they don't have class today. So they go home, and then you're going, okay, the stadium's not going to look full. That looked like a big-time program stadium as far as the attendance and the intensity of that atmosphere. And one of the things I keep talking about when it comes to Missouri football that I noticed, and I told James Carlton this, he's the sponsor in particular over on 101. He's been on TMA and my podcast forever. I said, man, when we talked Missouri football last year, because I had to be honest with him, I'm not going to have him spend bad money. I said, it was like crickets. It doesn't matter. For whatever reason, on a sports audience over on 101, they just don't care. Even the hate text stop. There's just nothing. And what this year has done, it's brought in people who are casual fans. We went to dinner last night, since we didn't go on Saturday, and I overheard 2 tables talking about the Missouri game the night before. You saw people driving down there. That's what a night game does. People driving down there. I'm sure a 2:30 game the week before. I'm sure being on CBS with Georgia on 2:30. Those things absolutely help. But winning is what it produces. And so you get that atmosphere, you get the casual fan coming to Columbia, watching on ESPN, and then you have a game with that kind of excitement. Was it well played by Missouri? Absolutely not. Probably their worst performance as far as the quality of a game they've played since the Middle Tennessee game. But in both cases, they were able to win, and to get a conversion on 4th and 17 in order to do it, for a guy who, unfortunately, against LSU and Georgia, when the game was on the line, didn't come through, even though he's had an incredible year. And Brady Cook, for him to make that throw, Luther Burden to make that catch, and then, more importantly, get 2 more catches to keep moving it down the field. Yeah, they got the 4th and 17, but that still wasn't a guaranteed make. It would have been about a 59-yarder. Absolutely incredible.
It would certainly be fun, especially with the NFL now out of here, if Missouri football could play like this consistently over a few years And college football in Missouri could be what college football is in Tennessee and Louisiana and other places around the South, where it's just a huge, huge deal. And it's what people wait anxiously for every Saturday. And maybe you're on the right track. Who would have thought that Drinkwitz would be the guy to do this? This is third or fourth year?
Fourth year.
Yeah. To pack stadiums and have a top 10 team. I mean, we didn't give him a chance in hell to do this just a short while ago, and yet it's everything you could possibly have hoped for.
I become a fan of his. I was very critical of him. I was hoping he'd get fired because the team was lackluster with him calling plays. They sucked. It was no fun to watch. But, since he turned over the reins, and offense looks great, defense looks great, and he just is on the sidelines talking to players, kind of smiling. I've kind of become a fan.
Grew up on the ill side and never really paid attention to college football, Illinois or Missouri. I've watched more Mizzou football this year than any time in my life. I've really enjoyed it. And Saturday night was fun seeing all the stunned Gator fans at the bar. That's from Josh Bob Bill Duggan. He lives in Tampa, so that is the reason why he was around Gator fans.
Yeah. They're still living and dying in Florida, even though their team's a 500 outfit.
But that's part of being a huge college football fan, is you live and die with it. And it isn't just August through January. It's then January all the way to August. That's the way that it is. And I don't know, if and when that can happen in Columbia and around the state of Missouri. But that is why I don't go, yeah, okay, great, went to a bowl. Who gives a damn? Win at this level. Compete when you play the number one team in the country like they did. I mean, Georgia goes to Tennessee and just pounds Tennessee, making that Missouri game look even more impressive, in addition to the fact that Missouri is now a 9-win team, certainly should be a 10-win team. Wouldn't necessarily count on it if they play like they did on Saturday. But either way, that's the exact kind of game as a Missouri fan you expect to lose, which is what I said to my wife. I said, I just don't think they're going to win this game. Not because I thought there was going to be some kind of flea kicker fifth down thing. I'm just like, Florida's outplaying them. Missouri is playing terribly, in particular defensively. I realize, importantly, that two of their linebackers were out. That's a very important part of the equation. But still, those two guys were out against Tennessee for most of the game, and they still had that kind of performance against Tennessee. Tennessee contributed to that. But to that 4th and 17 conversion, I mean, it's certainly not to the level, nor am I making the comparison, but it reminded me of, okay, I'll watch David Freese. Is it bad against Neftali Feliz? How is this thing going to end? And then he hits the triple off the wall over Nelson Cruz's head. I'm like, God, this sucks. How is this going to end? And then what's, the reaction going to be for the program, for the fan base? Because this is going to be a brutal loss against a team that lost to Arkansas at home. There's no way you can spin it. And instead, you have a very, historically anyway, un-Missouri-like moment when you convert 4th and 17 and 2 more passes to get that to be a chip shot. And even before Mevis kicked it, I'm like, God, he's going to miss it, and it's going to be another north end zone thing. And it was perfect and true. Then Florida gets a second back on the clock after the game was over, and I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be it.
What was that all about?
I mean, I was surprised at that end of the game too.
Everybody on the field, just not 1 second, they're going to kneel down, just go.
Those are the exact kind of games that used to go against Missouri.
That's what I'm saying.
Where you'd give up the 4th and 17.
Yeah. Jackson, your reaction?
Yeah, I mean, that game was crazy, truly entertaining, and I'm probably saying that more in hindsight, because during the game, it's like panic-inducing when you see Trevor Etienne just ripping through the Missouri second level. But 4th and 17 for Brady Cook to step up and make that throw to the middle of the field to Luther Burden, that's a step more so than I ever thought. I was at the Middle Tennessee State game going, we need a new quarterback. We cannot win games with Brady Cook. And then ever since Kansas State, he's grown his confidence week in and week out. And that was the culmination of it, to make that final drive, that 2-minute drill at home when you're trying to defend a historic season in terms of the last 10, 15 years. And so to do that and be successful and execute both from Mevis and the offensive standpoint was really, really awesome to see. Not only because Missouri got the win, but Brady Cook, who's such a great story, who's such a true son, and I know that's corny to some people, but it's the true. It's the truth. You know, he's a Mizzou fan just like me since he was a kid.
Plowhawk likes it. Plowhawk likes True Sun.
I mean,
And, he hadn't been particularly good late in the games against Georgia
Right,
and LSU.
exactly,
He'd struggled
exactly.
in those situations a little bit.
for sure, he's had some moments of lapses of judgment in the pocket, but to do that was really awesome to see for Mizzou fans across Mizzou Nation. It really was. Like, that was a game, like you've all said, that Mizzou typically loses. To win that game, protect the top 10 seed, the top 10 ranking, and still have the chance for a New Year's Six bowl. Like, in terms of what you could do this season, it couldn't have been a better outcome.
I would imagine they will drop to 10 in the college football playoff. Louisville will jump them. That would be my guess tomorrow night. Louisville won, very fortunately, yet again. But hey, Missouri got their fortunate win on Saturday night, but Louisville certainly has had some near misses against, Virginia's a butt ass, and they almost lost to them at home. And Miami actually converted their Hail Mary. I don't know if anybody saw this. They were playing against the Hurricanes, but it was deflected like at the 5-yard line, and then the player for Miami couldn't get into the end zone. Otherwise, Louisville might have lost. My guess is Louisville jumps Missouri. That doesn't matter from the New Year's Six standpoint. Louisville has to play Kentucky. Kentucky has become a disaster. Kentucky was undefeated going to Athens, and then they lost there big time, lost to Missouri, and the only game they've won since then has been Mississippi State, which is not necessarily a great win. Mississippi State is kind of tracking around Vanderbilt this year in the SEC. So Florida has Florida State. They're a 4-point favorite. Kentucky has Louisville. That game, I believe, is in Lexington. Jackson, can you confirm that? I'm not certain of that. I know the Florida State game's in Gainesville.
That game...
Oregon State. Oregon State will drop back.
Game is in Louisville, at Louisville.
It's at
Papa John
Louisville.
Cardinal Stadium.
Oh, you like that, Papa John Cardinal
I
Stadium?
don't mind it.
And what do we got? Washington and Washington State. Is that the Apple Bowl Cup? Apple Bowl Cup?
Bucket or something.
Apple Bucket?
Apple butter cup.
Apple butter cracker barrel.
I like apple butter.
Who's
Georgia
I love
Tech.
it.
Apple Cup is what they
Who's the
call
Oregon
it.
guy? Utah?
Oregon State.
Boy, Bo Nix is just, he may have, he's
He's our
not gonna-
Pac-12 correspondent.
Well, he's
Yeah.
locked up, the Heisman.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, I think it's Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels.
Depends on what part of the country you live in
I
on this
don't
one.
think so.
Jaden Daniels leads the country in 20-plus yard plays.
Yeah.
I
Another
have to
great
say, I haven't watched a whole lot of Oregon. I watched them play Washington, and I saw a little of the Utah game. I just don't know how it's not Jaden Daniels, but what goes on with the Heisman vote lately, which is kind of like the MVP in baseball, is you have to be on a good team. And LSU, while a good team, doesn't have a great record.
Right.
And so I could certainly see Bo Nix if he goes off this weekend in Eugene. And they vote on the Heisman before the conference championship, right?
I don't think so.
So, he's going to have two big stages.
And he's already beaten a lot of great teams. I'm not saying LSU and Jaden Daniels hasn't, but they really haven't played that great.
the team, Bo Nix has the team thing going, but Jaden Daniels leads, and that 20-plus plays includes teams. Like, he is leading. He's like second or third in rushing in the SEC.
No, he's having like a Manziel type season, honestly. Like
The eye test alone would give you Jaden Daniels, but I get the Bo Nix thing.
He got 6 touchdowns in the first half. I don't think he played the second half. I want to go back to Mizzou and ask you guys, after watching the replays, I got to give Brady Cook credit for throwing that ball. 'Cause if you see, I think it's maybe Theo Weiss going over the middle. And if you look at the Florida defenders, there's 3 behind him. And there was another Mizzou receiver behind Luther Burden. There are 3 guys in coverage behind Luther Burden, all looking the other way. Am I missing something that is like, he's right there. This is the guy you should be covering. He's the number 1 receiver. And they're all like looking at the other receiver. And they threw it right in front of him. And then there were 3 receivers, or 3.
Florida's coverage on that was garbage.
Yeah,
Very fortunate for Missouri.
could not be more unacceptable.
I mean, if one of them turned around, they're going to see the ball coming. There were 3 of them there, and none of them even looked.
Well, Weiss almost was like screening his guy to keep him away from Burden. I don't know if that was intentional or not. And then there were 2 other guys, but he just had a very casual route down the field and was wide open. But you still got to make that throw.
Yeah.
And it's 4th and 17. He's got to make that catch. I still don't think Burden's even close to healthy with regard to who he was, through the LSU game and maybe some of the Kentucky game. But still a factor.
Yeah, he could have overthrown him. He could have, but he made the throw and was perfect.
And then there were
Byrd
two
went up and
more
got it.
throws. That's the thing. I mean, 4th and 17 still will live forever for Missouri fans, but two more throws because, Jesse Palmer was saying, and now they're in Mevis's range. Well, yes, by definition, he did hit a 61-yarder, but that isn't something that you go, good. Now we have a wedge into the green. That's still like a 4-iron to 3 feet. That's not something you count on. So Cook was able to execute two more throws.
That last one was huge because I think it still would have been like a 45-yarder, and they picked up like 20 yards on the last one.
You're correct. Yeah. Just incredible. Here is Brady Cook following the comeback.
Hit the lever, Plowsy.
Yeah, just operate the 2-minute drill and, just find a way to move the ball down the field and, get into our 2-minute calls and just trust my reads. I think just trusting the play. That's what it comes down to. We've repped these plays. I've repped these plays. I've seen these looks. I've seen them on tape. It just comes down to trusting the look, trusting the play, and just delivering.
Brady, as a quarterback, what does it mean to you, and what kind of confidence does it bring you to have a guy like Luther to go to in a big time moment like that?
Yeah, it's Luther. He's getting healthier, and you can see that on the field, and he's confident. Luther's back, baby. So he's back making plays, and he's him for sure.
Luther's back, baby.
People were begging for Sam Horn. I still will never let that down. Never let that down.
Some of these wild plays, I think, is what makes college football more entertaining, at least for me, than the NFL.
100%.
Oh, because so much better than the NFL.
It's a million times
Yeah, the talent
better.
level is so different between the
players
stars
care.
and the guys.
Well,
yeah.
I think what it is every game matters.
But I think it's also the fact that you see wilder, crazier, more unpredictable plays in college football. The NFL guys are so darn good. When an NFL defensive player hits you, you stay hit. You usually go down. College, there's Mizzou. They didn't lay a hand on. They couldn't tackle anybody in the second half.
That was unbelievable.
You don't see a lot of that in the NFL.
Graham Mertz trucked 2 linebackers.
Yeah.
Man, my God.
Yeah, but in the NFL defensive players, I think, are much better than the college defensive players. It could just be that the
I agree with that with the speed.
Offensive skill players in college are a lot better than the defensive skill players. Also, I think some of the defenses get worn down by the hurry-up offenses, too. Late in the game, they're just out of gas, which could be a big factor, too.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the tale of two halves. In the first half, you thought Brady or Shaver's going to run for 200 yards. I mean, 130-something in the first half. Then I think he had like 10 in the second half. But when you look up, how did Luther Burden get 150 yards, 100 whatever yards receiving? I mean, it's the most quietest 150-yard receiving I've ever seen.
He had a couple of big plays.
But I think he had like 20 yards receiving in the first half. So it was like the tale of two halves.
Luther's back, baby.
Nice.
Love me some Brady.
And give Mevis a lot of credit. He had, 4 field goals?
Yeah.
Everyone right down the middle?
that was the thing at the start of the season, in addition to the offense's problems through the first 2 games, in particular the Middle Tennessee game, that he struggled in that game, kicking the, quote-unquote easy ones, the ones you would expect him to make. And that's why I thought the K-State kick, he was kind of free-rolling. Nobody's expecting him to make it. And he does hit it, and since then he really has had a hell of a year. Now it sounds obvious because he has the national perspective of being this bomber, the thicker kicker. But last year against Auburn, he missed a chip shot, and it kind of spiraled psychologically for him, I think. Mm-hmm. And to hit that, and all those kicks they're dead down the middle.
No doubters.
Absolutely clutch. And while that kick sent people into incredible euphoria, if you're a Missouri fan, it just also, I think, properly puts this team in the category that I think it is deserved for most of the season, with the exception of the Middle Tennessee game and that Florida game, that this is one of the best Missouri teams I've seen. It's up there for me with the 2007, 2013 teams. Better than 2008, better than 2010, better than 2014. Those teams, minus 2010, all went to its respective conference championship game. But this team has so many different ways it can beat you. It wasn't the pass game. The pass game was actually borderline bad at times in between LSU and Saturday night. And it's not like Saturday night. It was killing it up until the fourth quarter. But it was defense against Tennessee. It was Cody Schrader against Tennessee. It was special teams getting the whole thing going. It boosted Missouri's season, that one play, and it destroyed Kentucky's season, that fake punt. Literally, just like that. That ended it for both. I mean, now Mark Stoops, I think, is a guy who was just kind of like a Kirk Ferentz at Iowa, and now people are watching his situation closely in Lexington. So when you have that, I think I'd be really curious, of course it can't happen, how this team would play against the 2007 team and how this team would play against the 2013 team. Those teams both were a win away from playing for the national championship, but this team, not every week a championship team blows out its opposition. Georgia was down 14-3 to South Carolina. Georgia was fighting for its life at Auburn, an Auburn team that this week got blown off the field by New Mexico State. So and you saw Georgia last year against a average Missouri team fight for its life. So you got to win these kinds of games. And Missouri historically hadn't. Even in 2013, a great Missouri team lost this kind of game to South Carolina. So that's I'm not only am I just happy as a guy who's a Missouri fan, but also happy because they lose that Florida game. That's what would stick for a lot of people with this team, and I think this team is way better than that. Those kinds of games can happen, like Georgia against Missouri last year. Georgia plays Missouri 10 times last year. They win by 3 touchdowns without question. But on that one night, and in this particular case, on this one night, Florida was right there with Missouri, and I think played, without question, the better game. But Missouri's talent at the end was able to overcome it. And Florida also was decimated by injuries. It's not like Missouri was the only team dealing with injuries. They had their offensive line a mess, and they had their backup quarterback in. But you got to win those kinds of games. And, we can knock Texas, and we can knock Florida State for having some close calls, and Washington for having some close calls. But they got them done, and they won them. And you got to do that. And Missouri was able to do that, and it keeps the New Year's Six thing alive, and it, I think, allows this team to have its proper place in history. And it also, from a casual fan standpoint, the Missouri's going to Missouri, Mizzou will Mizzou. They didn't do it, and you keep that momentum going, and ideally you finish strong and get a New Year's Six bowl and continue that attention and don't play Tulane, ideally, or Louisville for that matter.
This is one of the rare seasons where it's really disappointing to see the Mizzou football season come to an end. Usually it's, okay, that's enough of that, let's move on. This year it's, there's not going to be any more games? Because that's what people are looking forward to on Saturdays now, is sitting in front of the TV watching Mizzou.
Yeah, maybe I'm just a pessimist, but I keep waiting for Schrader to have a mediocre game. It's time for him to have his, 15 carries for 50 yards. It just doesn't happen.
No.
You stop him a couple times and he breaks one off for 40.
I wonder if he shows up on some All-American teams. Second, third team, honorable mention.
If you're leading the SEC and rushing, I would think so.
Yeah, I would think so.
KJ Notown says elite college football teams find ways to win when they don't have their best stuff. This team is different. That's from KJ Notown. Timmy, listening to you and your amazing Cavs talk college football gives me such a veiny Ranger.
Oh.
You heard veiny Ranger? I like that.
I don't care for that.
The team isn't elite, though.
Keep going, Big Daddy. This team is not elite?
No. There's only like a couple of elite teams in the college football right
Top
now.
10.
I don't know.
What do you have to be elite?
I'd take Missouri against anybody on a neutral field.
But they lost their two.
Which sounds ridiculous and sounds homer, but you know.
But they lost to the two best teams on their schedule, and I think Missouri's having an incredible
were playing
season.
Better than Georgia at the half, and they were there all the way till the very end with Georgia. So I don't view it through that lens. I think sometimes you have frauds, like I think Louisville is a fraud. And that's not because I'm anti-Louisville. I couldn't care any less. But you look at the body of work performance week in and week out, and elite teams beat the hell out of their opposition. And Missouri beat the hell out of Tennessee, and they beat the hell out of Kentucky, and they beat the hell out of South Carolina. They just dominate them. They like Georgia'd South Carolina. So in this particular case, I think Missouri is an elite team. I suppose if you're saying are they Georgia, then I guess you would say no. But I mean, they played Georgia in Georgia, and they were right there with them, and they were the better team in the first half, which sounds ridiculous. So once you do that, to me, I realize, again, I know that, you're a Missouri fan, so you're saying that, but hell, plenty of Missouri fans hate me because I don't think I'm a big enough Missouri fan, or I differ with their opinions when the crowd is going one way. But I think Missouri is an elite team, and if they had the college football playoff 12 teams this year, I would certainly like to see how Missouri would compete against anybody. Once you go to Athens and you are in that spot, nobody else has been able to do that against Georgia for a full 60 minutes. So I think that in this particular case they are, which is why I'm so glad they won on Saturday night, because otherwise, had they lost, it would have really, I think, colored what this team was, and that would have been playing a role in ruining its legacy.
And Georgia's now won 28 straight. That is really an incredible thing.
And for the most part, beating the hell out of people.
Yeah, 28 straight in the toughest conference in the country. In an era when you can go out and buy players, it's really an incredible run. I'm not sure we'll see this again anytime soon.
Mizzou hasn't beaten a ranked team. How the F are they elite? They beat Kansas State.
Kentucky was ranked.
They beat Kentucky. They beat Tennessee was ranked ahead of them, but maybe I got some bad information. This must be the Ole Miss poll. Did they beat the hell out of Middle Tennessee State, Memphis, K-State, or other? Was it K-State a bum now?
They were ranked too. Did you mention?
Have some shame, mate. That's from Jenny Talia, who, for the record, is hotty toddy, good God Almighty, and has had their problems when they have to play against legit opposition. Let's see what we got. If Drink can continue this momentum, just maybe the program can take the next step and consistently be a 9-10 win squad. That's from Mr. Smith, Doug.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, from 2007 through 2014, minus 11 and 12, 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, and 2013 and 14. That was what you got in Columbia. People were excited about it.
And some of the other teams in the SEC West appear to be going in the other direction. Tennessee,
Auburn.
Kentucky, Arkansas.
Oh, you're talking about SEC
not what they've
East?
been.
But it's cyclical.
East. Yeah,
well, there is no SEC East
but
anymore.
In the near future, the next couple of years could be just as good because of some of those other teams that have had some powerhouse teams don't appear to be that way now.
But it's so cyclical. I mean, Texas A&M finished in the top 5 in 2020, and Jimbo Fisher gets whacked 3 years later. So you'll have your blue bloods in part because of budget and legacy, but then you'll also have teams be able to pop up here and there. Like, the first ever college football playoff poll, the number 1 ranked team was Mississippi State, which would sound like a joke now, but it's when it's that big of a part of the culture of almost all of the schools in the conference, that's when you can really gain some momentum. And the key is to try to keep it going. That's why what transpired in 2015 was so devastating, because the program really was on a trajectory of going up for nearly a decade. And instead, it just absolutely fell apart from 2015 through, take your pick, 2021, I suppose. Jenny Talia, Doug, the Ole Miss guy, says, where are those teams ranked now? Doug, you always have a problem with that, because in order to beat a ranked team, then you beat them. Well, what's going to happen is when you beat a team, that team's ranking does not go up.
No, it goes down.
Kansas State's 19 and Tennessee's 25.
Anything else, buddy?
I want you to know that Jenny Talia, I'm not on his side. I just think there's only a couple elite teams. Who in
your opinion? Yeah, but I mean, like, how many teams do you consider to be elite?
Well, I think
because that's, as you said, Jackson, it's subjective. So if you, like, I would say Alabama is elite at this moment. I wouldn't have said Alabama was elite in September, and that's not just because they lost to Texas. It's because of the problems they had against South Florida. And then, to Nick Saban's credit, which is why I think he would be live for Coach of the Year, because he took that team and then was able to restructure it into what it's become now, which is live to win a national championship. But they're number 8. So then would you also include Texas, Oregon, Washington, Florida State, now Florida State?
Oregon and Washington are the cutoff for me.
Then 6. So you don't include Alabama as an elite team?
No.
Okay, interesting.
No.
Well, hey, everybody's got their own definition.
I think Jackson's lonely, wispy pube. I'm sorry I had to say that, Jackson. I think the text he sent earlier is the best. Being an elite team, that means you're surprised when they lose. If Missouri went up against the top 4 teams, would you be surprised if they lost? And I think that's a good example.
But Georgia's the only team you would be surprised if they lost to a top 4 team. So there's only one elite team. If Washington lost to Michigan, would you be surprised?
No, I'm talking if Missouri played the top 4. If Missouri went up against Michigan and Missouri beat Michigan, we'd all be stunned. If Missouri went up against Ohio State and won, we'd all be still there's no saying this team has a chance against that.
That to me goes back to what is one of the original sins of college football, which is people pay attention to the brand name versus the actual team. And I understand, I'm not faulting people for having lives and not sitting around and watching college football all Saturday. If anything, I tip my cap. I used to be that person. But I do get a chance to watch. Like I said, I think of the top teams, the one I've watched the least, which might wind up winning the whole damn thing, by the way, is Oregon. But you get caught, if Missouri's name were LSU, I don't know, that would make sense because they played them this year. But A&M, I suppose, and Missouri had the resume it had, it would be viewed differently. But people like Michigan was fighting for its life on Saturday in Maryland. How many people are aware of that? Ohio State was fighting for its life in the first half against Rutgers and early in the part of the second half. But how many people were watching Michigan and Maryland and Ohio State and Rutgers? And I understand that. So much about college football is perception and brand name. And so maybe Louisville is a great team. They don't have the brand equity of their conference counterpart, Florida State. I don't think a great team has the problems that Louisville has had with Miami. And I know it's a road game, but there's really no such thing as a road game at this moment in where Miami plays. That's not an atmosphere that's tough for a road team. And at home against Virginia, and those are their last 2 games. And a great team doesn't get blown off the field by Pittsburgh. But how many people know about these things to have that conversation?
Yeah, to your point, and you can turn this into odds makers. If Missouri played at home against Michigan, Ohio State, Georgia, Oregon, probably Washington, they'd be underdogs.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, what are you trying to say?
Well, at home, you would think, okay, they should be favored over most teams at home the way they're playing.
Right,
but you don't look at the Mizzou name.
It's a lot of that's perception.
That's what I was saying. You're talking about perception.
But that's what college football is, which is why when, after the LSU game, it drove me up the wall, that it's if you would have said at the start of the season they'd be 5-1, you'd take it. I'm going, God, it's just not a winner's mentality. You go. If you would have watched that LSU game and gone, holy crap, LSU's just in another class, then I understand it. Missouri was the better team. They were the better team. Florida was the better team against Missouri on Saturday, in my opinion anyway. Missouri was able to win it. In this case, Missouri, absolutely. They play that game again against LSU. I think they win. And the same thing with Georgia. Not that I think they would win, but the first half, I remember going, holy crap, Missouri's outplayed Georgia. Now, I think it's important, just like Missouri didn't really have Luther Burden in the second half against Georgia. Georgia didn't have Brock Bowers the entire game against Missouri. So the same team that beat the hell out of Ole Miss and beat the hell out of Tennessee was not the team that Missouri faced, although Georgia's dealing with a number of injuries themselves now, including Bowers was limping around a little bit, but he went back in there on Saturday against Tennessee. I just think people get caught up in the brand names or the history of programs versus what they actually are in the moment. And in the moment, Missouri is one of the best teams in the country.
Are they 2 touchdowns over Arkansas? Maybe 10?
I think the line is 7.
Yeah.
And Sam Pittman will be returning. Yeah. So he knows he's got his job. He will not be fired on the field like other coaches Missouri has beaten.
That's got to be the worst way to go. You're not even off the field and you get fired.
It's got to be the worst feeling for Missouri that, right when they beat a team, the coaches are getting fired.
Absolutely. You can't, yes, indeed. Dan Mullen, I believe, was the last one, if I'm not mistaken. That was the Darth Vader press conference.
I think Drinkowitz said this. I think this...
Drinkwitz. 2 syllables, Drinkwitz.
Well, I've been calling him Drinkowitz for 4 years.
But we should get to know the gentleman.
Well, most people do. And I think he answered this question, if I'm not mistaken, but somebody was talking about Coach of the Year in the SEC, and they were talking about Saban, how they turn it around after week 3. He goes, well, it's easy to turn teams around when you got 5-star recruits.
I agree with that. That was the discussion. I don't know where they were having that about who should be the Coach of the Year. Maybe it was Palmer and Tessitore on Saturday night. Yeah, I mean, I would, again, you got to win. You lose to Florida on Saturday night. He's not Coach of the Year.
If he loses Friday.
And he loses Friday. He's not Coach of the Year.
But
to me, it's he does win Friday. Drinkwitz is the SEC Coach of the Year. That would be where my vote would be. And it may not be fair to Saban and Smart that they're held to the standard because there is a good chance that one of them wins out. I mean, Georgia Tech is highly unlikely to beat Georgia, and then of course Alabama plays against Auburn, and Auburn just lost handily at home to New Mexico State. So Hugh Freeze is now, I'm sure, in the crosshairs of War Eagle fans. And then, of course, Georgia and Alabama play each other in the SEC championship. But you're picked to be 6th in the SEC East, and, you're a couple of plays away from being undefeated. And, hey, they could have lost to K-State. They could have lost to Middle Tennessee. And they did lose to LSU, and they did lose to Georgia. So, can't reverse engineer these things, but they were in every single game, and they dominated in a few of the coin flip games. K-State, that was a battle. They didn't dominate that one. But Kentucky was a coin flip game. They absolutely dominated for the final 3 quarters. South Carolina, going into the year, was a coin flip. Obviously, South Carolina isn't who we thought they were. But again, a lot of that's injuries. And then Tennessee was one of the most signature wins for the program. And that wasn't even considered a coin flip going in. That was thought to be most likely a loss.
Well, as much as I love what Drinkwitz has done, I don't think you could turn your back on what Kirby Smart has done. If you go undefeated again, and just by having those 4 or 5-star players, well, you got to recruit them. That's a big part of coaching, is recruiting those players. He's getting them. And when you can win every game yet again, I think that makes you Coach of the Year.
Yeah, it just depends on what prism you view it through. Do you view it on the coach? And I oftentimes think it's unfair because guys like Smart and Saban, it's so tough. I think Saban's only won 1 SEC Coach of the Year, as crazy as that sounds.
Yeah, that's nuts.
But that's because of the vote usually is based on who exceeded expectations the most. And if you're expected to win, then the thought process, well, then you didn't do anything as far as coaching. But I agree with you. Recruiting is a huge part of coaching. And now the transfer portal is
the most important thing.
Yeah, I'm not even sure recruiting is that important anymore. You just go to the transfer portal and get the good players.
But that's still recruiting.
I don't think you recruit them. You just give them more money.
I'm really intrigued to see, because from my standpoint, no team has improved more from the middle of September to the end of the season than Alabama. But again, how many people, and if I'm not mistaken, if the Alabama-South Florida game, there was a technical issue, so you couldn't even watch it, or it was from like a drone
One
camera.
camera from up high.
Alabama was fighting for its life against South Florida the week after they lost to Texas at home. And for now, if Alabama goes and beats Georgia, I think that
Florida State's about to get screwed, man.
Because you think they're going to be left out because Travis is now.
Travis is out. Even if they win the ACC, that'd be a good win. I just don't think they're going to let him in. Game Day talked about it, and I realize Pat McAfee and Kurt Herbstreit, those opinions probably don't matter in the committee. But everybody was picking an SEC champion Alabama over an undefeated Florida State. Every single one of them.
Really?
Almost, yeah. So it's like, I don't think Florida State.
Wow, is that right?
This is pre-Jordan Travis injury.
Right.
This is in the morning.
That's to get into the playoff or just to
So
beat
they would
them?
pick a one-loss Alabama over an undefeated Florida State.
Yes.
Wow.
And
I
again,
just
those
absolutely
opinions,
disagree with that.
Like that. I couldn't. I had to turn it off. It's like that is so. That means college football is absolutely pointless. Like the whole regular season thing is dumb. It's not like they're in a non-Power 5. It's the ACC.
You can beat LSU at a neutral site, albeit Orlando, so more of a Florida State game. But it's not like Orlando and Tallahassee are right next door to each other, and beat them handily. You can win at Clemson, who has gotten their crap together ever since Tyler from Spartanburg called in, and beat Louisville.
Yeah.
A top 10 one-loss team.
Win your
Again, a team that I
conference.
don't think would beat any of the other top 10 teams, but whatever. They're there, and, Louisville beat the hell out of Notre Dame. And then you don't get in?
Yeah, you don't get in because Alabama would have to obviously beat Georgia, but
totally disagree with it. I would totally disagree with it.
So that would piss me off.
And I think, listen, I know it's probably going to come up. Ohio State and Michigan, are both one of them is going to have one loss and one's going to be undefeated, barring an Iowa miracle. That I'm sure they'll be making their case. Whoever loses on Saturday in Ann Arbor will be making their case that they should be in.
Those are style point losses. Like, that's our wins.
It'll be
too,
tough, though, for Michigan if they were to lose at home, plus all the crap circulating with the program. But they certainly would. And then it's like, well, what's Michigan? They got the Penn State win. But hey, Penn State's a 2-loss team, and you went to Happy Valley, and you just you Georgia'd them. You just kind of strangled them.
I don't think you could fail to win your conference and claim that you deserve a shot in the Final Four.
You shot at Alabama when they won the national championship.
I know.
Who's Florida State play? Louisville in the conference.
That is set. I believe all the conference championship games minus the Big 12 are set.
Yeah, you should at least have to win your conference to get in.
You do know Alabama won it.
I know. I still think that it's only fair if you're not a conference champion, you probably shouldn't be in the Final Four.
Or is that part of the equation next year when they go to 12, that the teams that win their conference championship, and then there's...
No, because there's not 12 big conferences to produce 12.
Well, I'm not saying 12, but I'm saying part of the equation wouldn't be... Are they doing that the 6 teams that win their conference, or the 5 teams that win their conference, and then after that we go to the picking? Is there any equation in there, or just voting on top 12?
I think it's the conference champions, and then they'll call in to this dais, and we'll decide what other teams get in.
That is correct.
Missouri will make it next year.
Yeah, Missouri at
Probably
5 and 7 will be in.
If this was a year earlier, Mizzou would be.
They would, and I would love to see how they would compete. Although, as you heard Brady Cook make reference to, Luther Burden has not been himself over the last couple of weeks, and certainly not having Hopper. You saw the impact that had on the defense. Here you go, Iggy. Here's some support for you. When it comes in, I want to make sure I read it. So this is the show, huh? I hate to say it, but I'm ready to let Ken eat and word vomit everywhere like he did Thursday and Friday. That's from the Illsider.
Obviously doesn't like the Mizzou talk.
Yeah, it's from the Illsider. Plowhawk, you want to break down ILL against Iowa?
No, it was horrible.
They held them to 17 points. That's an offensive onslaught for them. Onslaught for them. 17 points.
Offer onslaught.
17 points. That's a big outing for them.
Did you watch the game, Plowsy?
I did not, no. I don't watch much this weekend.
What do you have going on?
Dog.
You had a dog issue?
Oh, no,
yeah,
what now?
I'd rather not get into it, but it's expensive and it's frustrating. And so, yeah, it was a hard, long weekend, but didn't watch much football. I just kind of watched Gossip Girl and Gilmore Girls.
Well, you had time for that.
No, it just makes me feel a little better. I didn't want to get invested into a game.
Oh.
I had to keep my head on a swivel.
Ton of good games this week. There were a couple of teams going against each other that are ranked, but other than that, it was kind of a lot of terrible football games.
I did see that the weather looked terrible for the Oregon State-Washington game. Heard there was a ton of, nasty weather.
No, it was rain all over the place.
God.
Corvallis, Doug, on a Saturday night.
A lot of trees and
Pacific Northwest, man.
They get a lot of rain up there.
We're getting some rain here in St. Louis today, and that means you go inside to the simulators at Family Golf and Learning Center. FamilyGolfOnline.com. Work with their instructors in the off-season. Get that swing right. Doug, get on plane. Get on plane.
I need to.
And then get the short game working as well. And the next thing you know, you'll be taking people's money when April rolls around. It's Family Golf and Learning Center, FamilyGolfOnline.com. And that short game area is glorious, along with inside. They have a short game area and a double-decker driving range in addition to the 2 simulators inside. It's Family Golf and Learning Center, FamilyGolfOnline.com. Doug, tell me about Nautrals.
Well, it's a locally owned company, Tim, that's selling dog treats like these. I'll hold up a couple of them on the YouTube channel.
Yeah,
those are cute.
Those look
good.
Dora loves them. Dora absolutely loves them. Nautrals is a locally owned family business founded by 2 dedicated TMA listeners, one of whom used to babysit for Jackson. Nautrals carries a lineup of limited ingredient dental chews, 100% rawhide-free options, and mouth-watering oven-baked cookies. I mean, your dogs are going to love these. My dog does. Your pup's tail will be wagging with excitement after tasting flavors like real peanut butter, chicken, and pumpkin. Trust me, your dog will be begging for more, just like Dora. Dora gets these little in her paws, and she gnaws on them and won't let them go. And Dora is extremely picky, so if she likes it, I guarantee your dog will too. Well, I can't guarantee it, but I'm assuming your dog will.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Discounted variety packs are also available, so your pup can enjoy all flavors delivered right to your door. And here's a treat for our listeners. Use the code TMA at Naturals.com for an exclusive 15% off, plus free shipping on orders of $30 or more. That's Naturals.com. Naturals is spelled GNAWTURALS.com. Really a fun thing to get if you're looking for a little stocking stuffer for your dog or something, or just an everyday treat. Really, they'll love these. Outrageously tasty, easily digested. It's delicious by nature. It's Naturals.
Gabe DeArmond going to join us, presented by James Carlton at 9 o'clock. Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling. Email the day at 9:45. We are in our 7 o'clock hour, even though it is 8:25, and our 7 o'clock hour is presented to you by the wonderful people at Munganess, St. Louis Acura, and Alton Toyota. I got a text. How about this? This just kind of tells you. I got two little anecdotes. Doug, are you in the mood for an anecdote?
Yes, I always enjoy
I think you're going to love this. I know we didn't do this for the purpose of, maybe Tim will talk about this on the radio and the podcast, but James Carlton, sponsor of the Colonel's Report, emails me on Friday afternoon. And he said, I've spoken to him, but I haven't met him personally. Mike in my office got married last Saturday. Jamie Burkhardt of Munganast found out about it and sent him a $100 Amazon gift card. I mean, how about that?
Really?
I will definitely continue to buy any future cars through him. That's Jamie Burkhardt of Munganast Burkhardt, Alton Toyota, and St. Louis Acura. And that gives you an idea of the caliber of people at Munganast, St. Louis Acura, and Alton Toyota. And
It's
then,
not the first time he's done that kind of thing.
I am telling you. And then Jamie texts me on Saturday afternoon. Let's see. Just delivered John and Denise Bradley their new car. We laughed about your crazy show. Thank you, MIZ. And that was Jamie Burkhardt on Saturday afternoon. And then you got there the Bradleys. You know them from Appliance Discounters, longtime sponsor of this program. So that's the name of the game. That's the ecosystem of TMA. You advertise on the program, and suddenly not only listeners are doing business with you, but other advertisers are doing business with you. Jamie Burkhardt, Clayton Patterson, Peter Munganast, Ryan Seiberg, Munganast, St. Louis Acura, and Alton Toyota. And there's a secret number, 314-252-0029. 314-252-0029. It's Munganast, St. Louis Acura, and Alton Toyota.
So my girl Karen, who helps you when you go take your car in for maintenance.
That her actual name, or
Karen? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Munganast had two teams there. It was good to see all
that
those
first
people.
try.
So to see all of them. Jamie, as always, not only with the DraftKings money, but then he added another $1,000 to that.
Bill.
They are some of the nicest people.
They really
out there.
are. No joke. It's Munganast, 7 o'clock hour. StLouisAcura.com and Alton Toyota. Yeah, there's Munganast all over the place. StLouisAcura.com and AltonToyota.com. There's different family members at each one. The one that advertises on this show and on my podcast and on Balloon Party. It's Munganast, St. Louis Acura, and Alton Toyota. So StLouisAcura.com and AltonToyota.com. And the secret number, 314-252-0029. Well, Doug, they weren't happy yesterday. Some weren't. I mean, some are, actually, which then kind of gets into the weeds of the Cardinal offseason. Aaron Nola is returning to Philadelphia. What did John Mozeliak have to say about that? Also, the Cardinals non-tendered a number of players, some of which were recognizable and surprising in some capacity, and Mozeliak talks about that. We'll have that sound for you on the other side of the break. Gabe DeArmond at 9 o'clock, and, of course, the Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling email of the day at 9:45. Jeremy Rutherford with me and Jackson on Balloon Party coming up. This is all coming your way over the next 2.5 hours here on TMA, presented to you by Brown & Crouppen from the Michelob Ultra Studios.
Live from the Michelob Ultra Studios, KPN-TFM HD2, Collinsville, St. Louis. This is TMA All Day.
Biggie's Restaurant and Bar has been a staple of the community for over 30 years and is serving your favorites like the steak sandwich, waffle fries, and so much more. It's not just the food that's rocking. With a full bar and patio, Biggie's is the perfect spot for lunch, dinner, and a little laughter. Biggie's original hours are back. Open 11 a.m. till midnight, Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And 11 a.m. till 1 a.m. on Friday and Saturday. Check out the full menu at biggiesrestaurant.com and stop in today.
I'm Tim McKernan here with Action Jackson talking to you about Mark Hanna. TMA listeners have a lot to think through financially, whether it be saving up for their child's education or planning for their own retirement and everything in between.
Whether you're like me and just getting started with your financial planning or you're already retired, call Mark Hanna.
It all starts with a 15-minute phone call to discuss your needs and design the right strategy for you and your future.
Visit evergreenstl.com or give Mark a call at 314-889-0503 today. Mark Hanna offers securities through Equitable Advisors and insurance and annuity products through Equitable Network, LLC.
Rosalitas know that a fun happy hour and scenic patio go together like fresh guac and chips. So take advantage of their covered patio this fall and winter at their De Pere location and enjoy happy hour specials Monday through Friday from 3 to 6. Their sparkling margarita is made with Chambord raspberry liqueur and topped with a bottle of Rosé Prosecco. They also have a variety of delicious margarita flavors, including mango, pomegranate, and blood orange, all made with top-shelf tequila and Cointreau. With phenomenal service, great margaritas, and a breathtaking atmosphere, there's always a reason to come to Rosalitas.
Bet like the pros with the world's largest sports book right at your fingertips. Circus Sports is now available in Illinois. Hi, I'm Derek Stevens. I've been a lifelong sports bettor and I'm the owner of Circus Sports. We're excited that the Circus Sports app is now ready for action. Experience big app bets with high betting limits, tight money line splits, and more. Now you can download, fund, and bet like a pro from anywhere in Illinois. Download your new bookie today at circusports.com. If you or someone you know may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER or text ILGAMB to 833-234.
Summer Tour 24 with special guests Fitz and the Tantrums and DJ Logic. August 21st at St. Louis Music Park. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Don't miss OAR Live.
Do you want to support the EDF Group as a sponsor of TMA? Well, it's real simple. Do you have a fire extinguisher where you work? The answer is yes, you certainly do. So please email the EDF Group at fire@theedfgroup.com so a technician can come out and explain to your team how the EDF Group can save your company money. Again, that email address is fire@theedfgroup.com. The EDF Group is hot and will prevent your facility from having hot fires. Experience the EDF Group difference. Learn more at theedfgroup.com.
Hi, this is Doug Vaughn for Sound Story, the perfect gift for the holiday season. I've been hosting Sound Story interviews for the last couple of years, and I've enjoyed the chance to talk with so many people and hear their life stories. And with the holidays approaching, you can get your mom, dad, or grandparents a gift they'll love with just a couple of clicks at mysoundstory.com. With this week being Black Friday week, Sound Story is giving 20% off a Sound Story gift card when you enter promo code TMA. Sound Story is a professionally produced hour-long conversation in which you or one of your loved ones is interviewed by your choice of one of our professional interviewers, including Tim McKernan, Jackson Burkett, KG in O-Town, or me. Go to soundstory.com for more information and enter promo code TMA for 20% off your Sound Story gift certificate. Purchase your loved one's gift certificate today. Schedule your Sound Story later. Again, that's mysoundstory.com, promo code TMA for 20% off your Sound Story gift certificate. Sound Story, for you, for them, forever.
The choice of a lawyer is important and shouldn't be based on an ad.
After a serious car accident, people have two questions. Why me and what now? Well, no one knows why you, but I'm Terry Crouppen, and my law firm Brown & Crouppen sure can help with the what now. Car repairs, medical bills, lost wages, pain and suffering. We're Brown & Crouppen, and we've got all those answers. All you have to do is call. 222-2222.
I get asked all the time by people, if I'm in an accident, what should I do? And while yes, you should call the police, exchange insurance information, and take pictures of the scene, all those things are important. but the most important thing you need to do is hire a personal injury lawyer. This is Doug Biggs from Longo Biggs Injury Law, and if you've been hurt by someone else's negligence, don't take on the insurance company yourself. Insurance companies have teams of people and a playbook designed to keep you running in circles so they can pay you as little money as possible for your accident claim. If you don't have a lawyer, they know you can't bring your claim to court, and they will never give you full value. We recently took an offer from an insurance company without a lawyer on the case from $12,000 to $200,000. You can't get that kind of result without an attorney on your case. Even if you don't hire us, you need to hire a personal injury attorney. Check us out online at longobigs.com.
The Brown and Crouppen Morning After will be hosting the End of the Year Awards to celebrate TMA fans December 14th at Hot Shots in Webster. Best texter, best caller, best emailer, or listener of the year, or maybe best cuck story of the year, or most perverted fake story of the year, or whatever else we can come up with. Who should win? Who will win? Who gives a crap? Bring a new unwrapped toy for Annie's Hope on behalf of Jay Randolph Jr. and you'll get in for free. The End of the Year Awards. Brought to you by Munganess, St. Louis Acura, and Alton Toyota. Find out more at tmastl.com.
I spent 4 years in San Francisco.
It's the Brown and Crouppen Morning After.
KPN-TFM, HD2.
Collinsville, St. Louis.
Yeah, you're right. It does put it in perspective.
Jackson State.
Jackson State.
How in the world does that happen?
Were they 0-5 at the time?
Yes, and they'd lost their games by an average of 20 points a game.
Jackson knew I knew.
You knew that.
Doug, here's Dennis Gates.
Hit the lever, please, Plowsy.
I got to put Ox back on.
It's the Morning After. It's presented to you by Brown and Crouppen. We are in the Michelob Ultra Studios. My name is Tim McKernan. Took 2 days off on Thursday and Friday, Doug, but fun to be back. Really is fun to be back. Show will be off on Thursday and Friday. I think all the Hubbard shows are off on Thursday and Friday. Doug, the Plowhawk Jackson, and Iggy has a fourth quarter financials meeting with Hubbard Brass, so he is not in the Michelob Ultra Studios.
Things get serious about this time of year.
You're at the tarmac. Right?
Here's Dennis Gates.
It's simple. Be able to now learn a lesson from not only this game, but our last. You got to be able to fight through the adversity of the game without understanding or without leaving out there to chance. We left some things to chance, whether it was a stop and a rebound that we could not just get our hands on, or even a live ball turnover. Those are the chances that you can't leave there. So we got to do a better job of just basically staying together. This is the beginning of a season. Again, credit Jackson State. Is it going to be a lesson or a loss? Can't lose to them twice. We play again on Wednesday night.
All right,
they play the same team again Wednesday?
Yeah, it's home at home.
What in the world?
No.
Can you imagine paying for a home and
exactly
home
what he didn't say.
What in the world?
He said the complete opposite of that. He said we can't lose to them twice because we don't play them again.
Oh, I didn't hear the word don't. I didn't hear the word don't. Kind of started to feel like Ali Marmol saying this one will help us in this loss will help us in September.
Nice.
But what else do you say?
Right.
You lost 2 NBA players. I mean, I
Jackson's not doing well with this. How are you going to handle balloon party?
Dude, I know. The Sharks, it's going to be a feeding frenzy.
Mizzou not going to be a tournament team this year?
Well, you talk about
it. It's a quad 4 loss in November. Might as well be a scarlet letter. Like, you can't
overcome. Oh, is it over?
I mean, if it's up to committee and you have a good season after this, but you're a bubble team and you have a quad 4 loss, yeah, you are. That is not something tournament teams do. Simple as that. You can do it in the tournament. We saw Purdue lose to Fairleigh Dickinson last year. We've seen Virginia lose to UMBC, but those aren't quad 4 losses. Those are tournament teams.
Jackson, Todd Reesing.
This guy.
Oh, man, dude.
Oh, did he call that?
One of the worst.
He said this team is just so well coached, Doug.
He's such a jackass.
Gosh.
Whatever.
All the Pisons are going to be jumping with joy. Sorry, time is out.
What?
Whatever. M-I-Z-N-I-T. That's from Angel the Morning After. Stop letting him do this. Nobody gives a damn about Mizzou basketball, especially in November. Who gives a damn?
Then listen to anything else.
Harrison's brother Master.
Listen to something else then. If it really pisses you off that much, listen to something else.
Let him have it. Blister him.
Yeah, go after him.
You cannot lose games in the NFL and still win.
If it hurts your soul this bad, listen to something else. For real. Keep pushing back on basketball and
Who do you
enjoy
blame this
regional
defeat on?
sports. What's up?
Welcome to my world.
Who gets to blame for this loss?
Probably Gates. This
Gabe?
team just isn't built. They're not built right, to be honest with you. They don't have anybody who can go get you a bucket. I mean, they got good players, but they don't work in unison. When you lose three guys, Golston, Hodge, and Kobe Brown, it's a huge loss, and you fill them up with Noah Carter, Nick Honor, Sean East.
You talk about the leadership. Trey Gomillion.
That's a big part of it, too.
Who's a better basketball team, Minnesota or Jackson State?
Yeah, how do you go to Minnesota?
We almost lost there, too.
It's tough. Like, I take this stuff so seriously, and most, 99% of people don't. So, I have to take my emotion out.
This is, you know what this is, Doug? And I was the exact same age, now that I think about it, because Jackson's 25 and I was 25 when you and Steve Savard would either outwardly or inwardly be amused when I would do live shots following a Cardinal game, and I would be depressed. And I go, you know what? If anything, I admire Jackson's passion. Doug, the years have worn us dry.
Yeah, you get over it.
Yeah, I saw Missouri lost. I'm like, couldn't care any less, honestly. I don't think it's a commentary on Dennis Gates. I don't think it's a commentary on the program. You know, you give me the win against Florida, the basketball win against Jackson State. It's a no-brainer. It's college basketball in November, and I just don't get that worked up about it. But I was getting upset 22 years ago about a Cardinal loss in April. So, you know, I'm not mocking it so much as I was there. And there's no way in the world, especially somebody who's as mature with the work ethic and, you know, what you have going for yourself, Jackson, that you'll even be remotely caring about this in 22 years. And I'm talking about a Missouri loss in November in college basketball. It's just not the way that that life works once you have some other things going on. So,
Sure. Yeah. I just take it's because basketball is far and away my favorite sport. We don't have a professional team here. I don't have any allegiance to any professional team. So Missouri basketball is my team through and through. And when you have a loss like this, it really sucks because now the rest of the season is framed completely differently. And last year was so much fun. 2 or 3 times a week I would get to watch my favorite team play great. And now that's not going to be the case, and that sucks.
Don't other good teams lose players each year to the NBA? Isn't that the nature of college basketball? Shouldn't he be able to get another 1 or 2 really good players and coach up the rest? Does Gates secretly suck and is now exposed? Doug, that's Mr. Licks, who sounds concerned.
We are talking about one game.
Well,
right?
it is college basketball nowadays where the teams are radically different year to year, which is harder to replace than football because, you lose 1 or 2 players in basketball and the whole team's different.
Yep.
And, these people realize, they got the number 3 recruiting class next year.
Correct.
I mean, be drastically different.
Could be.
It starts with a G and ends with an ale vulva.
Oh, you're trying to get Jackson in a little
No,
bit.
I mean, recruitment's great, but what's more valuable is the transfer portal. I'd rather have guys who have played 4 years of college basketball and are 22 years old than a really good 18-year-old. But that's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah. Well, so you're going to be able to pick yourself up by the straps?
Yeah, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. I'll be fine.
Well, they weren't real happy yesterday when Aaron Nola, unsurprisingly, didn't sign with the St. Louis Baseball Cardinals. Doug, you like that St. Louis Baseball Cardinals?
Called him that
He
for
seemed
years.
like a Cardinal guy. Isn't that all we heard? He seems just like a Cardinal guy.
And he is going back to Philadelphia. They'll get a chance to pay him about $25 million when he is 36, 37, and 38, and I bet they'll love that. So that's $75 million for him then, but they get the first 4 years of Aaron Nola also at about a $25 million AAV. It's a 7-year, $172 million deal for Aaron Nola going to the Phillies, and a guy that I think many Cardinal fans, whether it was correct or incorrect, thought was going to be in the mix to come to St. Louis is now off the table. And Doug, whether it be Yoshinobu Yamamoto or Blake Snell, those are your top tier, at least heading into the... That doesn't mean Jordan Montgomery can't be great. That doesn't mean Sonny Gray can't be great. But those are the 3, and 1/3 is gone. John Mozeliak appeared with Tom Ackerman on KMOX Sports on a Sunday morning, and here's what he had to say.
Hit the lever
Well,
pump.
it's certainly going to be I'd say, very competitive market. I mean, we know that going in. look, we understand that we have to find guys to give us innings. We're going to continue to work at that. And obviously, when you look at more of the top-tier type pitching, we certainly want to make sure that we understand what's happening in those markets, and we're going to just keep working. But, this isn't the worst day in the world by any means with this announcement. It's not overly that surprising. But, there's still pitching out there, and there's still some things that we feel we can do to help our club.
There you go, Doug.
Well, I guess 29 other teams didn't
outlet
get it.
mall.
He was an outlet mall.
Like wind tunnels and outlet malls.
I didn't hold out much hope that they would get Aaron Nola. He's coming off 2 terrific years with the Phillies, who are highly competitive teams. Why would he leave that situation?
And this wasn't the guy everybody was wanting, right? And I thought that
Oh,
was,
it absolutely. At
Really?
least down the
Okay.
hallway, it's been Aaron Nola since like June.
But this is a normal this isn't a surprising contract, right? I guess maybe the years, but 25 AAV for a guy with postseason success. I'm not saying his regular seasons are eye-popping,
It
but
doesn't seem outrageous.
I think you get into a spot, and this is one of the things, and you have talked about this, Doug, more than anybody. Again, I'm not listening to a bunch of other stuff, but on this show anyway, in particular, Aaron Nola wanted to go back to Philadelphia. And, it's not like he's going to go, oh, well, maybe we can get a nicer house if I get $180 million instead of $172 million. It gets to a point where you're like, okay, $172 million. We're good. If that's going to allow us to get it done, and then also the Phillies to help continue to build this team, and we can win a championship. I love playing in Philadelphia. I'm not the only guy. I'm not one of 2 or 3 guys. We have a team that has been close to winning a World Series each of the last 2 years, and I'm happy there. So I will give them a somewhat of a break, but I'm going to get 7 years as opposed to 5 years at $30 million, because when it's all said and done, that's $150 million, and now I shall get $172 million. And for them, it's a lower AAV, and for me, I just made another $22 million. Not saying that that's how it went, but I could see that's how it played out in some capacity, because he wanted to return to Philadelphia. You can't control that, and it also gets down to the thing that I was saying that I think you have been saying for a number of months, and that is Cardinals may be willing to spend all kinds of money, but if a player doesn't want to come here because they don't want to play in a spot like St. Louis, or they don't want to play for Ali Marmol, or they're going, well, Paul Goldschmidt's in his last year, and I don't know what they've got beyond him, whatever reason, in free agency, you've got to have the other party want to do business with you. And if Aaron Nola, whether the Braves wanted him or not, wanted to go back to Philadelphia, there wasn't much that any team could do. And so for the Cardinals, if they think they're going to get Blake Snell, who knows on this Yamamoto thing? I'm certainly not expecting that. But Blake Snell is going to have to want to come here. Yamamoto is going to have to come here.
The money is so big now all over baseball that it's hard to change anybody's lifestyle with a slightly larger contract. They're just all going to go to where they want to play, where they think they probably have a chance to win, maybe where their friends are, where their family's happy. So I'm not sure that anybody, as you said, is going to go somewhere else because someone offered him $190 million as opposed to $175 million. It just doesn't change anything.
The Cardinals thought they had Giancarlo Stanton, thought they had David Price, and offered more than the Cubs did for Jason Hayward. All 3 chose not to come here, or in Hayward's case, not to stay here.
And aren't you happy they did?
You better believe it, brother. And by the way, I'm thrilled for the Phillies. Glad the Cardinals didn't do it. But what my prediction has been, and I'll continue to repeat it, is you are going to either have one of 2 things here over the next 3 weeks. I think all of the big-time pitchers will be gone over the next 3 weeks. Cardinal fans jumping up and down because they went nuts and paid for one of the Yamamoto. I'd be excited about, for the record. I'm not expecting it, but if Blake Snell got something like that, and I'm imagining his eyes lit up when he saw 7 years, because he is most likely, I would imagine, going to get, as the defending Cy Young winner, something comparable. That Cardinal fans are going to be expecting that, so you're either going to have them be super pissed off if they don't do that, or I'm going to be the guy who will be the wet blanket saying I think that this is a mistake. But that to me is inevitable. One of those outcomes, Yamamoto I'd be thrilled by. Or if they were able to acquire some younger pitching, say from the Mariners. But in order to do that, they're going to have to give up most likely a young, not a Tyler O'Neill, Dylan Carlson guy. It's going to take a real commodity with equity in order to pull that off, and they only have a handful of those, and I don't know if they're willing to part with them. So Mozeliak certainly sounded confident in the interview with Tom Ackerman on KMOX, but I wasn't, it sounds like a guy who knew they weren't in the mix for Nolan. So, I have felt like part of it is Randy Carricker has been talking about this, not saying that he wants it, but that Sonny Gray is like textbook Cardinal. And, a Sonny Gray, Michael Wacha offseason, along with a trade, that could be your rotation.
Yeah, might be about as good as you can
Didn't
do.
we say tier 5? Isn't that where the Cardinals are always going to land?
Yeah.
Especially in this market with Red Sox and Yankees fans about to jump off a cliff. They're going to be bidding with the top tier teams. I mean, Yamamoto, I'm sure the Dodgers are in on Ohtani, Yamamoto. I mean, those guys don't stop spending money just because.
Unless they get Yamamoto, just rebuild. Screw the fats. But that's the best way to turn this around. That's in the chic of Wydown, and he doesn't like overweight people.
And they're the only ones who are going to be upset by this?
They should have started this last offseason, I'll be honest.
It's kind of disappointing that with all the guys they traded at the trade deadline, Montgomery, Flaherty, Hicks, and some others, you couldn't get one pitcher that's going to help you the next year that you can count on, not one?
I think they're going to get 2 of these 3.
You're surprised
there we go.
beaten trades? It happens every day.
Or I could throw another one in there, say they're going to get 3 of these 4. They're going to get Trevor Bauer, Rodriguez, Jordan Montgomery, Wacha.
3 of the 4 you think they'll get?
I think Montgomery
If
can go back
Waka's
to
one
New
of
York.
them, because Waka's not going to be much money compared to all these other pitchers. I would say 10 of them are going to get 20 plus a year.
He may be close to that.
Waka?
He just won 14 games and had an ERA like a 3.
The last 2 years have been, or last 3 kind of have been good. Sonny Gray, I would stay 500 feet away from that. I wouldn't touch Sonny Gray at all. He's 34. If you sign him with a 3-year deal, that's like a Noah deal. I know it's less years you're paying him, but you're not going to get the productivity Nolan's going to give you for 3 or 4
He
years.
may actually get a higher AAV than Nolan. I'm not saying, I'm just telling you that's from the projections on ESPN, that article I read last week on what they were expecting everybody to get.
I would take 2 of the first 3 I mentioned. I would take Rodriguez, Bauer.
You want Rodriguez and you want him now.
Or Montgomery, and then I would take low-hanging fruit for my 3rd.
Well, yeah, I think people would be really happy if they came away with Rodriguez and Montgomery. Yeah, I think that would be really good.
Wanting
really
to play here is going to, I don't want to bash it, just wanting to play here, and I'm not talking about the city or the tradition. I'm honestly talking about Oli Marmol, and like, there's just no track record of success there as of late with him, and I don't know. You got Goldschmidt on us last year, so like, are you want to spend your prime years having a switch in a key position? Do you trust Mozeliak? The money may be there, but these guys aren't gonna. You'd have to fork over a ton to be here over New York or L.A.
What's this guy's obsession with Eduardo Rodriguez? Doug, that's some Clevey way.
No, it's that and Caleb Williams.
Caleb Williams, did he play his last game on Saturday?
Yeah, he did. He's done. He didn't even go to the press conference.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, he just opted out of the press conference after the game.
Yeah, he's gonna be a huge bust in the NFL.
I mean, he threw for almost 400 yards, a touchdown. It's just.
You stayed and watched the whole game, did you? Or was the afternoon against UCLA?
I didn't see it on TV.
I like it when USC plays UCLA and they both wear their dark uniforms. I was like
powder blue against the Trojan Red.
I don't think there was a late game Saturday night. I think everything was at 6:30 or earlier.
Missouri and Florida.
Yeah, 6:30. There was
Washington, Oregon State.
There was no 9 o'clock game like there usually is.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
USC.
They usually have Colorado is the late night Friday night entertainment.
But they put them on there so bad they put them on Friday. They got their ass kicked again, 46-14, I think. Yeah, that Deion Coach of the Year after 3 games. He's won 1 of 7 since then.
Don't get upset.
They've still tripled their win total and quadrupled probably any kind of buzz that they had in years past. I think it's still a win.
Yeah, they're still 4-7.
There was a Mary Flipness from Missouri, a Colorado commit offensive lineman.
Got a center.
Yep. We'll talk about that with the Colonel. He's going to join us in about 10 minutes. So he is committed after initially committing to Deion Sanders. Illinois Recovery Center would love for you to know about them at the forefront of your mind when you think of getting help or helping out a loved one. The Illinois Recovery Center is dedicated to providing precise and authentic care to those seeking help and treatment, whether you've made the life-saving choice to seek help on your own or you want to be prepared for the other end of an addiction intervention with a loved one. The chance to learn about addiction recovery is available to you at the Illinois Recovery Center in Swansea. If you or someone you know wants more information about the Illinois Recovery Center, please call 888-472-9559 or email info@illinoisrecoverycenter.com. And you can check them out on Facebook at Illinois Recovery Center. Jackson, tell the people about Mark Hanna of Evergreen Wealth Strategies.
I certainly will, Tim, because I had a great conversation with Mark Hanna just the other day. Was talking it over with him. He's such a great human. Like, he really is. Like,
He's starting to sound like the Dalai Lama.
I mean, Doug, you have a conversation with him and you truly understand this is a guy who gets it. He understands that when you're talking about your financial future, it's so important to take into account not only money, but like your happiness and that spectrum in between. You know, how do you balance out making the most of money possible or doing the best for yourself financially and balancing that with your happiness, because both are so important. Mark understands that about as good as anyone I've ever met, and the way he conveys that message to his client is what I think sets him apart. So that's why I work with Mark Hanna, and I'm very confident that's why you should work with Mark Hanna.
His number is 314-881 or 889-0503, and you can go online at evergreenstl.com. That's evergreenstl.com. and work with the great Mark Hanna of Evergreen Wealth Strategies. Big doing at Andrea's. Big doings at Andrea's. And we want to make sure we congratulate Max and Rebecca. 45 years in business. Last Wednesday, they were celebrating at Andrea's Steakhouse. Beginning in December, Deerbergs will be carrying an exclusive three-pack gift set featuring all three of their products. That's the steak sauce, the barbecue sauce, and their salad dressing.
Hey, don't sleep on that salad dressing.
Doug, don't sleep on that salad
I
dressing.
never have
I
slept
kind of
on
felt
it.
like you have.
I haven't.
And then also, we've got this going on at Schnucks. It's underway through December 26th. The biggest promotional discount of the year with money off of steak sauce and $1 off of barbecue sauce and $1 off of salad dressing as well. You want to try that Andrea's barbecue sauce? Boom, $1 off at Schnucks. And if you want to order a bunch of it just like I do, Andreas.com. And once again, congratulations on 45 years in business at Andrea's Steakhouse. It is Andrea's, a wonderful sponsor and a wonderful producer of barbecue sauce. That's Andrea's Steakhouse. Jackson, tell me about your hair and what you have going on up there.
Yeah, I had friends in town this weekend who hadn't seen me in a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
What were they saying?
Yeah, I mean, it's been about 9-10 months since I saw them, and they go, "Would you get a haircut or something? Your hair looks really good." I was like, "Well," went and got a consultation over with our friends at St. Louis Hair Restoration, and that is the reason why my hair is starting to make a little bit of a regrowth. For me, it was something as easy as taking finasteride every morning and then this laser cap they gave me that I wear every evening, and that's certainly helped my situation. That's all because I got a consultation with the great people at St. Louis Hair Restoration. For Doug, they said FUE procedure is probably the best thing going for you.
And I may see some relatives this week that I haven't seen in a while. I'm going to say, welcome to Tough Town. Welcome to Tough Town. That's what I've got. Maybe you can see it on YouTube now. It's
dense as the day is long.
Yeah, it's getting there. God. Getting there. I guess they want me to go in next month for pictures to see, compare where I was before. And where
I can't wait to see.
Full body pics too.
It's noticeable.
Full body pics, yeah. They said don't wear anything.
So that's about 5 months you got going
that's
there?
unrelated. This is about 5 months.
Bill.
And a full year before you see the end of it.
You got some bangs there.
Yeah.
Bangs.
Yeah, it looks like Oakville Prom in '88.
Well, I don't know that it's quite that much, but it's about the same hairline I had when I was about 18, I'll say that. And it hadn't all grown in yet either. It gets better. The FUE procedure, this is serious stuff. I mean, it's like guaranteed to grow, and it does, as you can see on my lovely head of hair. Dr. Polinga does a fantastic job. He and the founder, Greg Kryling, actually patients of their own products, so they wouldn't go through it. If they didn't think it worked, then it works. It worked for me, it worked for them, and it will work for you. So if you don't like your hairline, if it's always something that bothered you, robs you of some of your confidence, you feel like you just don't ever look the way you want to look, do something about it. They can help you big time at St. Louis Hair Restoration.
There you go. Another wonderful sponsor here on TMA. Send your email in for the Design Air Heating and Cooling email today, the morning after, at InsideSTL.com. And as we said in the 7 o'clock hour, we have a couple of things going on. For those of you who want TMA merch, Plowhawk, you got some people like some things.
Yeah.
Hoodie, all of the TMA merch for Black Friday week, 20% off, no promo code needed at TMASTLshop.com. That's TMASTLshop.com. And you can get yours, and that Mike Flanagan will ship it to you quick, fast, and a hurry. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, it's all there for you. TMASTLshop.com, 20% off.
I saw Flanzy Saturday.
There you go, Doug.
Him and Kim.
Flanzy, I like
him
that.
and Kim were at a gobble bowl.
Who were they?
I haven't seen him since he moved back home. They moved back to St. Louis now, out of Utah, back in St. Louis.
Oh, great.
There you go, Doug. Taking people from Utah.
You can probably just go to his house and pick up your merch if you want.
We want to give his address.
Well, I'm sure
I
that'll
don't
be
know where
great
he
for
lives.
him. So a bunch of sad facts. Hey, I'm looking for my 4X hoodie.
4X.
4X.
Do you have to pay more if you need that much
I
material?
actually do believe that is the case.
Yeah, it should be.
You should.
Yeah, it's like buying
3
a
times as much material.
I believe indeed that is the case. I am heading to Glenn Betts Jewelers this week. It was the plan to head there on Saturday's bat, but Doug Illen and wasn't able to do it. Wasn't able to go to this restaurant. I couldn't even believe I was going to be able to go there on Saturday
Charcoal
night.
House?
It was not Charcoal House.
I can get you in there.
You can't get me in. And I had to cancel the reservation. But I'm going to Glenn Betts Jewelers and seeing Craig and David Betts. This is the time of year to do it. Going to get something for my betrothed for 12 years of loving. Their 12th anniversary. And if you are in cuffing season mode, you want to get engaged, go see Craig and David at GlennBettsJewelers.com. It is located on Manchester and De Pere, about a mile east of the I-270 at Manchester exit. At Glenn Betts, the difference is you are served personally. You're not sold. Glenn Betts Jewelers develops relationships through generations of your family as well. They get to know your likes, your lifestyle, and who and what you love. Those are the 3 L's. It's GlennBettsJewelers.com, GLENNBETZ, Jewelers.com. Doug, why don't you write a jingle for the Betts family?
Good, better, best. Never let it rest till your good is better and your better is Betts.
Boom. There it is. It's GlennBettsJewelers.com. We'll close out the 8 o'clock hour and take a break and talk it over with the Colonel, Gabriel P. DeArmond. We got Florida to talk about. We got Jackson State to talk about. We got football in general to talk about. You like that? It's like you sound exasperated.
Stephen A. Smith, is that who that was?
No, I don't even know.
Okay.
I don't like it. My voice is a little raspy for all my coughing. It kind of is. We got college football to talk about.
Oh, boy.
Nina
What? You like
Blackwood.
that?
Sound like
Yeah, Neil Blackwood. Delightful delivery. It's coming your way, and then the Design Air Heating and Cooling email today, and then Jackson and I get our asses ripped for an hour on 101 ESPN. This is TMA from the Michelob Ultra Studios. It's all presented to you by Brown and Crouppen.
Rosalitas know that a fun happy hour and scenic patio go together like fresh guac and chips. So take advantage of their covered patio this fall and winter at their De Pere location and enjoy happy hour specials Monday through Friday from 3 to 6. Their sparkling margarita is made with Chambord raspberry liqueur and topped with a bottle of Rosé Prosecco. They also have a variety of delicious margarita flavors, including mango, pomegranate, and blood orange, all made with top-shelf tequila and Cointreau. With phenomenal service, great margaritas, and a breathtaking atmosphere, there's always a reason to come to Rosalitas.
The Brown and Crouppen Morning After will be hosting the End of the Year Awards to celebrate TMA fans December 14th at Hot Shots in Webster. Best Texter, Best Caller, Best Emailer, Listener of the Year, or maybe Best Cuck Story of the Year, or Most Perverted Fake Story of the Year, or whatever else we can come up with. Who should win? Who will win? Who gives a crap? Bring a new unwrapped toy for Annie's Hope on behalf of Jay Randolph Jr., and you'll get in for free. The End of the Year Awards. Brought to you by Munganess, St. Louis Acura, and Alton Toyota. Find out more at TMASTL.com.
Hi, this is Doug Vaughn for Sound Story, the perfect gift for the holiday season. I've been hosting Sound Story interviews for the last couple of years, and I've enjoyed the chance to talk with so many people and hear their life stories. And with the holidays approaching, you can get your mom, dad, or grandparents a gift they'll love with just a couple of clicks at mysoundstory.com. With this week being Black Friday week, Sound Story is giving 20% off a Sound Story gift card when you enter promo code TMA. Sound Story is a professionally produced hour-long conversation in which you or one of your loved ones is interviewed by your choice of one of our professional interviewers, including Tim McKernan, Jackson Burkett, KG in O-Town, or me. Go to soundstory.com for more information and enter promo code TMA for 20% off your Sound Story gift certificate. Purchase your loved one's gift certificate today. Schedule your Sound Story later. Again, that's mysoundstory.com, promo code TMA for 20% off your Sound Story gift certificate. Sound Story, for you, for them, forever.
What are you doing later? You want to have a party and let us cater it around the holidays for your family or coworkers? That'd be cool. Or maybe you love someone that doesn't live in town and you want to ship them a brisket. You can do all that stuff from our website, saltandsmokebarbecue.com. We also sell Salt and Smoke embroidered dickies there for all your fashion needs around the high holidays. Anyway, hope to see you soon. Stay cute.
Summer Tour 24. With special guests, Fitz and the Tantrums. And DJ Logic. August 21st at St. Louis Music Park. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Don't miss OAR Live.
The Illinois Recovery Center is dedicated to providing precise and authentic care to those seeking help and treatment. Whether you've made the life-saving choice to seek help on your own or you want to be prepared for the other end of an addiction intervention with a loved one, the chance to learn about addiction recovery is available to you at the Illinois Recovery Center in Swansea. If you or someone you know wants more information about the Illinois Recovery Center, please call 888-472-9559 or email info@illinoisrecoverycenter.com. Hey, this is Tim McKernan, and I am here with a great TMA sponsor, and that is Longo Biggs Injury Law Firm. And you may hear a bunch of out-of-state law firms advertising here and there all over on billboards and so on and so forth. But the thing is, oftentimes their goal is to just settle and move on, and that's not what you guys do.
Yeah, this is CD Longo, and you hear us talking a lot about maximizing the value of cases, but what does that actually mean? Well, as Tim said, there's lots of personal injury lawyers in St. Louis, and everyone handles cases differently. We focus on getting the highest dollar amount for your injuries, not just getting a resolution quickly. We're constantly tracking all the settlements and verdicts in the area. This helps us advise our clients on whether a settlement offer is too low. And if the amount of compensation being offered is too low, we are happy to file lawsuits and proceed to trial to ensure our clients receive an amount that is fair. Visit our website or Google us at Longo Biggs Injury Law.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
When we think of a real estate agent, we think of somebody simply selling our home or finding us a new one. I mean, they're all the same, right?
Okay, here's the comps. We'll take some pics, we'll post them, and I'll get back to you, okay?
A home is life-changing, and your real estate agent should reflect that. Honesty, integrity, and someone who will go above and beyond to make your dreams come true.
The Jeff Lotman Group with Compass Realty. We're different because you're different. We want what you want. Experience the difference today at jefflotman.com, bringing people and properties together.
Live from the Michelob Ultra Studios, KPNT-FM HD2, Collinsville, St. Louis. This is TMA All Day.
I mean, what the hell is going on? It's the morning after.
KPNT-FM HD2,
Collinsville, St. Louis.
They were playing this at Fieldhouse, a.k.a. the Viper Room, until 8 in the morning yesterday.
On a continuous loop.
People are just rolling balls.
I would think so, yeah. Is there a chance this could become the Mizzou fight song in the future?
I would think. Ladies and gentlemen, he's had an adventurous last 36 hours. He is sponsored by the gentleman who has replaced Ken Strode in the Michelob Ultra Studios here on TMA, presented by Brown & Crouppen, and that is James Carlton. His name is the Colonel, Gabriel P. DeArmond of PowerMizzou.com. Morning, Colonel.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Well, Gabe, they went from very, very happy on Saturday night on PowerMizzou.com, where they love both me and you equally, and they went to despondent in 24 hours following the Jackson State debacle.
The emotional roller coaster, even after 20 years, continues to amaze me. I don't. I couldn't. I would have trouble functioning if I got quite so high or quite so low.
Doug, you're really pissed off at this.
I couldn't sleep. Because these losses to non-conference opponents in November are probably the most important part of the season.
Good for you for
and so
saying
I can't get over it. Try as I might.
Like, I mean, it was an awful loss. I mean, it's in the conversation with UMKC and Charleston Southern as legitimately one of the worst losses in program history. So it was awful. And they're going to play 27 more games. And it's just, we talk about this all the time, but it's not football. It's not where one season, like this doesn't mean you aren't allowed to play for a title. Well, I'm not saying I think Missouri's a tournament team and they're necessarily going places. I get why people would be concerned. They don't look very good through 5 games. Honestly, they played one good team and they should be 2-3. So I get concerned, but the sudden, well, here's all the guys we didn't get last year, and here's why we're terrible, and here's why Gates isn't the right guy. I mean, this is crazy, man. Like the guy has done almost everything right for 19 months, and he had an awful day. But it doesn't, it's all right. They'll play again.
Jackson is our resident big time Missouri basketball fan. And while we're talking about it, Jackson, because we're going to move to football here, but I wanted to make sure you had anything you may want to ask the Colonel.
Yeah, I guess, Gabe, my only question would be, like, if Gates is so confident, like, do you think he's going to kind of tighten down the rotation, or do you think he's just going to keep playing 12, 13, even 14 guys for the rest of the year?
I don't think I think it's got to tighten down, and I think he did it some last year too. He's using these early games to kind of try to figure out the roster and which guys can I use, which ones can I count on, Now, the issue is that, hey, you can tweak and you can figure things out, but you can't let it cost you a game. And it did last night. I'm not sure the rotation is what cost them the game, because the guys that made mistakes at the end of that game were Caleb Grill and Nick Honor, and then throw Jordan Butler in there, who's a freshman. And while he's a freshman, and people might in hindsight say, why is he in the game? People have been asking for more of that for the first 4 games. So you don't get to argue both sides of it. So I don't know if the rotation was the direct cause of why they got beat last night, but it is something that you look at and say, hey, it's cool to use these first 10 games as an experimentation, but you can't let it get to the point where you get beat in a game you shouldn't get beat.
Yeah. We just have to hope Gates can hang on to his job by the end of the year.
Well, I mean, I don't know, in certain corners of the internet, it seems to be in question.
Let's focus on what took place Saturday. Colonel, we're right in the same age range. We're in school at the same time together. And I don't know what you were thinking. I said this to my wife at some point. I think it was late in the third quarter. I said, they're just not going to win this game. And Missouri was ahead, by the way, at that time. I said, they're just going to lose this game because it had all, Doug, you like this term, the trappings?
I don't like it, no.
Of a textbook Missouri loss. Florida was outplaying them. Missouri wasn't tackling. They were having some issues offensively in addition to the defensive problems. And I just thought, okay, they're going to lose this thing. That was before it even got to 4th and 17. But 2 things stood out to me that were significantly, historically different for those of us in our 40s who have watched Missouri football for a long time. Number 1, the crowd for that game with Thanksgiving week upon the student body was incredible. I mean, what an absolutely phenomenal crowd. Another sellout, but the crowd was alive the whole time. It's not like people bolted at halftime. And then secondly, 4th and 17. At that point, I'm just like, okay, how's it going to get knocked down? And then how will Gabe handle post-game on YouTube? That's what was on my mind. And those 2 things turned, and it wound up being a game that I think Missouri fans will remember for a long time.
Yeah, I went through kind of really until late third quarter. I kind of just felt like Missouri's going to win this game. I mean, it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be as easy as people want it to be. But I think Missouri will win. And then when Florida went down and basically when they scored their second touchdown of the third quarter, and I think at that point it was 23-21 Missouri or something like that, I looked and I said, it feels like Florida's figured something out on this defense, and I don't think Missouri can stop them. And I said, so at that point, I switched to, you've just got to have the ball last. I was sitting next to Ben Frederickson at the game, and I said, it feels like whichever team has the ball last is going to win, because I don't know if either team can stop the other one. And, then they're obviously, I mean, the biggest play of the game is, and I can't remember which player it was, but Florida steps out of bounds on third down. And we all just looked at each other and said, oh, my God, they just saved Missouri 20 seconds.
Yeah, you're right about that. I'd forgotten all about that.
If they don't have those 20 seconds, I don't think they win the game.
Wow.
And all they really needed to do was get down in the middle of the field and set up the field goal, right?
Or literally just
falling
so
down. Kneel. They could have kneeled. That would have been better. Kneeled, nurse?
I mean, as you're going toward the sideline, you have to understand, I cannot go out of bounds. Just dive on the ground. Doesn't matter if you lose 3 yards. Just get on the ground. But because we were talking before the snap, do you run and you force them to throw use the timeout, or do you actually trust your backup quarterback to try to get a first down? Because Florida could have gotten a first down without scoring, and if that happens, the game's over. Missouri's never touching the ball again, right? If they get 12 yards and get to the 6, the game's over. But they threw kind of a safe pass, which a smart play, but Florida did so many things in that game that if I'm a Florida fan, I want to know if Billy Napier really knows what he's doing. I mean, they had so many false starts and delay of games and timeouts out of delay of games and timeouts at the worst time. And then that play at the end where it's just like, that's the one thing you can't do. I mean, that team has way too much talent to be 5-6.
Yeah, it was Etienne that went out of bounds there on that third down play. And, a lot of attention's being focused on the 4th and 17, which was incredible. And that timeout allowed them to call that before that play. And who knows if that would have happened without it. But what I was surprised with is after the completion of Mekhi Miller, there's about 35 seconds or so left on the clock. I thought they would just kind of take a knee and center that field goal and then spike it and then let Mevis kick the 45-ish yarder. The confidence with 0 timeouts to let Cook run another play, which, I mean, could be catastrophic if it's intercepted or if somebody, doesn't get out of bounds. My goodness, that play to Mookie Cooper, that shows so much confidence in Cook, because I had more confidence at that moment that Mevis would make a 45-yarder than Cook completing another 16-yard pass. I mean, just the confidence that they showed in Brady Cook. What are your thoughts on that?
No, totally agree. And it wasn't 35 seconds. There were 13 seconds. Miller went down at the 29, and I immediately said, spike it and kick it now. I would kick it right now on first down. And a couple of people said, why? I said, because literally earlier in the game, Missouri had a bad snap that caused Brady to go to a knee to get it. If that happens, game over. If anyone on your offensive line misses a block, game over. If somebody runs around for 2 seconds too long, game over. If Brady throws it short of the first down marker, game over. I mean, so many things could have gone wrong there that I would have kicked the 46-yarder. That doesn't obviously make it wrong what Eli did. His team went and made the play he trusted him to make, and he deserves a lot of credit for knowing his team, believing in his team, and making the kick much easier for Harrison Mevis. So this is not a criticism of Drinkwitz, but I had the same thoughts you did. If they snap this again, there are so many things that can go wrong here, and credit to Missouri that none of them did.
Yeah, that wasn't even, honestly, it wasn't even on my mind. I loved that they kept going, but yes, of course, a lot of that's results-oriented, but in the moment, I'm like, God, get this closer. And I know you weren't watching the broadcast, Gabe, since you were in the press box, but once they completed the 4th and 17 to Burden, Jesse Palmer's like, well, they are now in Mevis's range. And yes, by the literal interpretation, they are, but it's still, I mean, my analogy was he stuck a 4-iron to 3 feet against Kansas State. You can't expect somebody to stick a 4-iron to 3 feet. So they still needed to make more moves.
Except with Harrison Mevis, I think I have more belief that he's going to do that than that he's going to hit the wedge.
I know that that's the thing that I know exactly what you're saying on that, because I think he was kind of free rolling psychologically when he had that against K-State, and I was worried that he was going to shank that one and we were going to have another north end zone debacle. But instead, as I made reference to, Missouri gets the crowd that they got. I think that's a huge thing. I've overheard. As I was saying to the guys earlier on the show, I was out at dinner last night and overheard people talking about the Missouri win. You saw that crowd on a Saturday night, and a date that a lot of people would miss because students would go home for Thanksgiving, and the crowd was an incredibly important part of it. And they won a game in which they didn't have their best stuff. But that's not just Missouri. We saw Georgia struggle with South Carolina and Auburn early in the year. Washington's had a bunch of near misses. Florida State's had a bunch of near misses. Michigan was battling with Maryland. Ohio State was dicking around with Rutgers at one point this year. It's part of being a good team is winning when you don't have your best stuff. With that said, if they bring that effort against Arkansas on Friday, as bad as Arkansas has been, they did beat Florida in the swamp. You could risk ruining the momentum that you have going into bowl season. So what did you see Saturday night that was problematic that they need to tend to before they head to Fayetteville Friday?
Well, the defense was obviously a problem. I think that not the team and not the coaches. I think people on the outside greatly underestimated Florida and the talent they have going in. Graham Mertz has had a good year. People will not let go of what he was at Wisconsin. He's had a good year. Etienne and Wilson, those are NFL running backs players. Ricky Pearsall is an NFL wide receiver. They have great talent, and they clearly were confusing. Missouri didn't know where the ball was. The play fakes, the motion, Missouri couldn't find the ball. And by the time they did, it was 6-7 yards down the field. They badly missed Tyron Hopper. There's no question about that. But really the one other big difference in that game was that Missouri got inside the 25 times and they kicked 4 field goals. Now, one was obviously intentional. But first drive of the game, they roll down, Cody Schrader just gashing them. First and goal at the 9, they throw a pass, and it's incomplete, and then you're in a tough spot, and you end up kicking a field goal. So Missouri, it's weird. They lead the country, in scoring percentage in the red zone, but they're 71st in the country in touchdown percentage, which means they're kicking a whole lot of short field goals.
And making them. Mevis could be an NFL guy, well, yeah. I would think. But I know they don't always spend a lot of time recruiting kickers. What was his story? Did they know what they had in him when he showed up?
I mean, he was recruited, was offered a scholarship. 3-star guy, maybe 2-star guy, I can't remember. But I think they thought he was good. And his older brother had kicked at Iowa State, so there was some history of it. Look, I don't know if they expected him as a true freshman to go out and virtually make every kick he looked at. All-time leading scorer in school history. I don't know if you ever expect that. But, yeah, when you offer a kicker a scholarship, you fully expect him to be a 3 or 4 year starter.
Yeah.
Yeah, dating back to last week, that's 7 field goals Mizzou's kicked. So the good news is Mevis is locked in. The bad news is they are not scoring touchdowns in the red zone. Doug, I'm sure Gabe's been listening for many years. Doug had a rant years ago on fantasy football. Just throw it up to him. If only Mizzou had
receivers.
Yeah, if only Mizzou had a 6'7" guy they can target in the red zone.
Right. You see what Cortland Sutton did for the Broncos last night? He goes up and gets it.
Yeah, no, but Brett Norfleet, I don't think we're giving enough credit to how impressive he is, both blocking and catching and hurdling. This guy is going to be a superstar at Mizzou. I hope they get him more involved in the offense. He had 3 catches, which was tied for second on the team this past week. I think he averaged 18 yards per catch, something along those lines. I hope they target him more in the red zone, or Theo Weiss, the other taller gentleman they have.
Norfleet played really well. Should have had a touchdown. Missouri lined up wrong. Again, another thing, cost them 4 points in the end. So they left a lot out there on the field. They really like Norfleet. Definitely, it's one thing that has been severely lacking, really, since Drinkwitz took over, is the tight end position. They just haven't gotten anything out of it, and they're starting to get something out of it. And again, it goes back to, the first half, Cody Schrader runs for 112 yards. So if you focus on stopping that, then all of a sudden Brady Cook in the passing game got hot in the second half. Weiss had the 77-yard touchdown. They had the drive at the end. What do you take away? Because you can't take it all away. and Missouri has shown an ability to win in a number of different ways. And Saturday, the defense was bad, but the defense has won this team games. It's capable of it.
At this point in the season, does Drinkwitz go Cruton during the week when he's so hot and everybody loves him right now?
They did last week. They were out on the road, I know, on Friday night. I don't know what the calendar allows. My guess is with Thanksgiving in a short week, they're not on the road this week. And I don't even know if they're allowed to be, but, they've got to compact everything into 4 days as they normally do in 5. We've got media day here in a couple hours, and then practice, and they'll do a Thanksgiving thing probably on Wednesday and travel to Fayetteville on Thursday.
Colonel, now with the college football playoff rankings coming out tomorrow night, my expectation is Missouri is at 10. Would you agree with that?
No, they'll be why would they be at 10? They were at 9 last week.
My bet is Louisville will pass them.
Based on barely beating.
Yeah, I really. Hey, maybe I'm wrong. All right, fine. It's neither here nor there.
What did they do that Missouri didn't do?
They won on the road against Miami. Missouri had problems with Florida at home. I think that will change.
Louisville had problems too.
I understand. Well, this is great. We're arguing. I like this. I really don't care. But that's what I think is going to happen.
I don't know if it matters.
That's what I was setting it up to say. It doesn't matter though, because Missouri still would be in that top 11. What are there many scenarios at this point outside of a loss on Friday in Fayetteville that would lead to Missouri not getting a New Year's Six? Anything that Missouri fans should be pulling for or against?
Yes, pull for the favorites in the conference title games.
Okay.
The only thing at this point, other than the committee just changing its mind and saying, yeah, we know you were 9, but we feel like you should be 12 or whatever. Other than that, the only thing that changes this is at least 2 of these 3 have to happen. Iowa has to beat the Ohio State-Michigan winner in the Big Ten title game. If that happens, that means the Big Ten's getting another team in. So that takes up a spot.
Mm-hmm.
Arizona could, if they win, Oregon State beats Oregon, and then Arizona beats Washington, it is possible the Pac-12 gets 3 teams in instead of 2. So that fills up another spot. And then the Big 12, they're changing their tiebreakers week to week. I think they're just going to have a steel cage match between the coaches to see who gets in the title game. But there is a scenario where Oklahoma State beats Texas in the league title game, and Texas still gets in above Missouri, and that would be a 3rd team. So if 2 of those happen, Missouri could be in trouble, but that's a lot.
What at this moment do you think is the most likely is Peach Bowl?
I really don't know how they pick Peach, Fiesta, Cotton. Because when you get into it, if Alabama is not in the playoff, Alabama can't play Texas. So Alabama's not. They can, but they're not going to have a rematch. Alabama's not going to go to the Cotton Bowl. You've got Tulane that's got to get in there somewhere. So I would think Cotton Bowl, if Texas is there, is pretty likely. Somebody has to go to the Fiesta Bowl, against either theoretically Oregon or Washington.
Yeah.
I think Missouri could go there. I would think Alabama would be in the Peach Bowl if they're not in the playoff, because that just makes the most sense, and they can't go to the Cotton Bowl. We know they're not going to the Orange Bowl because that's going to be an ACC team versus the Big Ten runner-up.
Okay. So something that the Plowhawk brought up, so you don't know, but at this moment, the most bowl projections I've seen, and again, these all can change very quickly, Missouri and Penn State. You think that is the most likely opponent? Again, it doesn't matter because, there's so many sliding elements to the deal. But Penn State's certainly in the wheelhouse.
I think that's actually pretty unlikely because if Missouri's in the New Year's Six, there's a decent chance that Penn State isn't. But I think if Penn State gets in, you could see Penn State, Alabama, maybe. And Missouri could play Penn State in the Citrus Bowl if Missouri were to lose. So maybe those projections are thinking Missouri falls outside the top 12. I'm not sure. I think if Missouri's in, Penn State maybe isn't. And if Missouri's out, it's because Penn State's in. So I'm not sure. I would think they play each other.
Okay. This was something the Plowhawk brought up. I didn't see it on College Game Day. so I can't. But Plowhawk, tell Gabe what you brought up that Kirk Herbstreit and Pat McAfee you saw say, which
and
really,
Desmond Howard,
and Desmond Howard really surprised me.
They are the committee, but they all said that if Alabama wins the SEC, obviously beats Georgia, they would go and pick Alabama over Florida State, undefeated Florida State, and this was pre-Travis injury. And I turned it off at that point because I lost.
You'd had enough.
I was done with it. But do you see that scenario happening? Especially more so now. But
I mean, ultimately they can do whatever they want to do, right? Yeah. And we don't know, and that's the issue. But I don't see 13-0 Florida State getting left out. I don't see 13-0 Washington getting left out. So those of us who root for chaos, what you want is those two teams to both go undefeated. Obviously, the Ohio State-Michigan winner to go undefeated. Texas to win out. Alabama to beat Georgia in the SEC title game. And then what you have is one spot that has to go to 12-1 Georgia, who most people think is the best team in the country, or 12-1 Alabama, which just beat Georgia to win the SEC title, or 12-1 Texas, which beat Alabama this year. Right, and so two of those three teams are getting left out. What you have is either screwing a Texas team that beat Alabama or having the Final Four team playoff that does not have the SEC champion in it.
Yeah. It's quite a spot, and I have to tell you that is a real live scenario. I mean, that's not like a 3% thing of happening. That's really in play.
But it usually works out. We usually do this with 3 or 4 weeks
minus
left
Baylor,
say,
TCU in 2014.
What if this happened? And it never happens. They always get bailed out, and the 4 teams are always pretty obvious. There might be one team who has a complaint.
Do you expect Washington to pass Florida State tomorrow night?
I think they should, because I think you have to understand that Florida State just lost its starting quarterback.
And Washington beat a good team on the road on Saturday night, too.
Right, and Washington had a good win. Again, it doesn't really matter, I don't think, because Ohio State and Michigan are going to play, and one of them is going to be outside the top 4 next Tuesday.
Yeah.
Is there any team out there you think Missouri just couldn't possibly match up against?
No. I mean, they played the best team in the country and had the ball with the chance to take a lead on the road with 8 minutes left. I don't really see any game that I look at and say there's no way, which is why I think what Missouri fans should want in a bowl game is, go play Oregon or Washington.
Amen.
Go
Good
play
for you,
one of these big-time teams, because there's so much upside. If you get Tulane, there's just no upside to that. Texas, I've seen some Missouri fans want the Texas thing in the Cotton Bowl. I don't know. I've seen that. I've seen them play Texas in a bowl game. I've seen them play in the Cotton Bowl twice. I just would like to see something new and different.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, if I could actually pick it, it would be Fiesta Bowl against Washington, Oregon, because this is the year. I mean, this is kind of like 2007 in that this team is I think I wanted to ask you that, Gabe. What I was about to say is one of the best Missouri teams I've ever seen. I would put it ahead of 2008. I know that's not bold, or 2010 or 2014, but 2 of those 3 teams went to the conference championship game. One of those teams was Big 12 North co-champion. I think it's up there, and so not only was the win important as a Missouri fan on Saturday night, but I think it keeps this team's legacy in its proper place, whereas a loss like that would have been, would have gone, oh yeah, they were great, but remember the Florida game. Instead, they have that kind of comeback win and the drive. How do you rank this team of teams you've covered? I mean, I guess it would all have to be teams in the 21st century, because there was nothing in our lifetime before that would hold a candle.
Right. Yeah, if they win on Friday, I think it's probably the 3rd best season I've seen. I won't put it with 07 and 13. I mean, those teams went into conference title weekend with national championship hopes. That separates it. This team's national championship hopes died the first Saturday in November, so it's not as good by definition to me there. But I agree. I think that 2014 team was weird. I really didn't think it was all that good.
They didn't belong on the same field as Alabama that day. I mean, I just remember Matty Monk scrambling and just throwing it up and hoping.
Yeah, and they lost to Indiana that year, and that wasn't the same level. 08, they had all this talent, but that was the season where they lost to Oklahoma State in, week 6 or whatever it was, and then just didn't even show up in Texas, and the rest of that year was just kind of cool, go win 10 games in the Alamo Bowl, and it seemed like such a disappointment.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would put this third. I mean, I can't talk about 1960 and 1969. I don't really know how those teams stack up, but
Doug, they played Penn State in 1980. Actually played Oregon, Gabe, in the early 70s. We were looking that up. I don't remember a Missouri-Washington game. I don't know if do you recall them ever playing Washington, Doug? The Huskies?
the Gary Pinkel Bowl, that'd be all right.
Oh, yeah, the Gary Pinkel Bowl. What else was out there as far as then Tulane? Yeah. No, that doesn't really do it. Do you think they would go, okay, let's give Tulane a chance to get people interested and put them up against Alabama or something like that? Or would they go, okay, let's ship them over here with Missouri? How do you think they would handle that? They gave them USC last year.
Not a clue. I don't know how they usually do these. I don't know. I would hope it wouldn't be Missouri Tulane. But what do we see a lot of times in the NCAA tournament? Oh, hey, look at this great mid-major team. Let's match them up against another mid-major team. No, that's boring. Give them one of the real teams, right? Like Wichita State, Kentucky. That was kind of fun.
Who are the guys exactly that make up the committee that determine this?
It's a good question. You should ask
It changes. Look that up myself. Okay.
Doug, we've wanted to say that to Iggy last year, and Gabe actually finally was the person to say it, except he said it to you.
Okay, sorry.
Colonel, always enjoy the James, anything? You always come prepared. Of course, that's unlike anybody else in here.
I'm just thinking back to that 2008 championship game at Arrowhead against Oklahoma after losing by 30, walking out of there thinking, well, the good news is that quarterback for Oklahoma is going to save the Rams. I knew he'd go number 1 overall, and the Rams were trending that direction, and unfortunately it didn't work out.
Here it is. Committee members include one current athletic director from each of the 5 major conferences, ACC, Big 10, Big 12, Pac-12, SEC, also known as Power 5. Other members are former coaches, players, athletic directors, administrators, plus a retired member of the media. That's who decides.
Well, I'm not on the committee. I can.
Colonel is not.
Okay. Well, you're not retired.
Yeah. Yeah, you're still firing.
Okay.
Did you do a YouTube post-game show on Saturday?
We did.
Nice.
About midnight. Yep. 500 people hanging out.
I bet. Probably some had a little nip of the cooking sherry before joining in. Any of our listeners ask you to take your shirt off?
Most likely. I mean, I don't.
No, they called you cute and Gerard handsome or something.
Sure it happens.
Yeah, right.
That's what happened.
Isn't that great, Doug? Our listeners go and flirt with Gabe and Gerard in the postgame.
OnlyFans has become such a big thing. People want their media people to be naked.
Clip that off.
We've taken a turn, fellas.
Yeah, we have. Time to go. Time to go. Okay.
Thank you, Colonel.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
There he is.
right,
That's
then.
Gabe DeArmond, presented by this gentleman right here on my left. Doug, his name's James Carlton,
Yeah, I saw him
CarltonInsurance.net.
Doug, you think you can get Goldfinger to fire up that PJ and take us to the Fiesta Bowl?
Wouldn't that be fun?
Bill.
Yeah, let's
I
do
bet
it.
he'd go. He probably will go.
Well, I'll text you my number, or have
Okay.
Tim text you my number.
All right.
There you go.
That would be a fun trip.
Oh, heck yeah, it would.
Fun trip. Yeah.
I've never flown private. I hear it's nice.
It's the way to go. It's definitely the way to go.
Yeah.
It's amazing how it cuts about 5 hours off your trip.
I mean, I am telling you. It is something else.
Mm-hmm.
It is I think we'll do that.
Okay.
We'll fly out to Scottsdale.
That should be for the email of the day,
Yeah, give away that prize. Hang out with Biff and Goldfinger in Scottsdale. James, thank you as always,
See you,
sir.
gentlemen. Happy Thanksgiving.
There he is.
All right,
Happy
thank you,
Thanksgiving to
Jim.
you and yours. The great James Carlton. If you're looking for a home, I would like to recommend Jeff Lotman of Compass Realty St. Louis, JEFFLOTTMANN.com. That's JEFFLOTTMANN.com. Looking to buy a home, looking to sell your home? Jeff Lotman has been selling homes in the St. Louis area for 22 years, has $500 million in sales. That means he has connections. And if you are looking to buy a home, you want to have those connections. And of course, if you're looking to sell your home, you want those connections as well. And Compass Realty is a luxury brand. They can connect you with people from all over the globe. It's Compass Realty and Jeff Lotman at JEFFLOTTMANN.com. Yeah, think about that. Now, what do you think?
I'm just happy that he has such a nice website.
Yeah, he does have a good website. You're right.
It makes for a nice little jingle.
Yeah, Longo Biggs has a nice one as well. It's longobigs.com. Injury cases can be complex. In each case, an accident is different, and every fact is important when building a case. People often wonder how injured victims get large settlements or verdicts, and the short answer is because they're represented by effective and skilled lawyers, and that's where C.D. Longo and Doug Biggs of the Longo Biggs Injury Law Firm come into play at longobigs.com, LONGOBIGGS.com. Longo Biggs of the Longo Biggs Injury Law Firm will take all the complication and hassle out of your injury claim. They're online at longobigs.com. They're TMA listeners. They are native St. Louisans. They live here in the community, and one of the two of them will be handling your case. So there you go. It's Longo Biggs at longobigs.com. Longo Biggs Injury Law accepts personal injury, wrongful death, brain injury, and other catastrophic injury cases. Remember, the choice of an attorney is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements. How about that? Think about that.
That's nice.
People are wondering if Iggy got laid at Gobbable. I don't know on that. That's from Breezeway.
I wouldn't think so. Although he did have a lot of success in the past at Bowling Alley Center.
That's correct.
At certain houses in particular.
like
Redbird Lanes particularly.
Hotbed.
Mm-hmm. And that was your home
Yeah, I got a
house.
perfect attendance trophy there in '84, as you know.
Did you? Showed up every week. I got one of those
trophy.
at Crestwood Bowl.
God, you always have to one-up
Perfect
me.
attendance. But my trophy said the winner, Doe Vaughn, D-O-U-G-H Vaughn. My dad thought that was the funniest thing, began calling me Doughboy after that.
Oh, was that from Boys in the Hood?
I don't think it was that, no, because that spells dough.
Right.
Obviously. I mean, you wouldn't spell Tom, T-O-M-B, would you?
I spell Lamba that way.
Oh. I never understood why people want to put an H after Doug, but it's happened 1,000 times in my life. 1,000 times.
Autocorrect? You think it was autocorrect on that trophy?
No, it's just, I guess you're so used to that in typing, D-O-U-G-H oftentimes comes after the G, that, I mean, I had that so many times, drove me nuts. Dove on.
Kind of like it.
Stop it!
I kind of like
Right there on a bowling trophy. I was humiliated.
I like it a lot. Jackson, anything stand out to you from the Colonel? Did he workshop your emotions on the Jackson State loss?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's spot on with Dennis Gates has been like pitching the perfect game for the 19 months and then has one bad day. And it's like, you know, the reckoning, but it is what it is. And then in terms of football, I thought everything was great. I love hearing Gabe's perspective on things, you know, from a guy who's been covering this team for so long. So love every time we get to talk to Gabe.
I get it if you look at the 2007 and 13 teams through the lens. Well, that team was a win away from the national championship. And I'm not saying this team is better per se, but this team, different spot, because 2007 lost Oklahoma 2 times, and those were their only losses. And then 2013 lost at home to South Carolina and lost on the road, well, not on the road, neutral site, SEC championship game against Auburn. I would say that the 2013 team was probably the closer one to a national championship because both those losses were, I mean, right there in the fourth quarter, whereas Missouri, Oklahoma, neither one were really in doubt in the fourth quarter if you're going back to 2007. But the 2013 team actually needed help to get into the national championship later that night in the Big Ten championship game, and it turns out they got it. 2007 controlled their destiny, beat Oklahoma and San Antonio, play for the national championship. And while it was close at the half, it never was really close in the second half. Those teams didn't have what this team had in the regular season, which was playing, you know, the teams like LSU and the number one team on the road in November in Georgia. So I don't know. I don't know where I'd come down. You can make a case for any of the three on. At least I can. I mean, I think the most famous team is the 2007 team, don't you think? I mean, you had the Kansas game, and you had Chase Daniel and Macklin, and they're forever linked, and some big-time players and who played in the NFL, but Witherspoon, Moore, Hood.
Kaufman, was he on that team?
Kaufman was on that team. T. Rucker, Tony Temple had a big Cotton Bowl. DGB had his 1 year in 2013.
Kellen Winslow and Roger Worley were on that team.
Frank Broyles on the sideline before he went to
Johnny Rowland running rampant.
Don Farrow was up in the press box.
He did great work up there as a consultant. Doug, did you get a chance to watch the Giants and Commanders game?
I did not. I missed that one.
Known for leaking pipes, poor playing surface conditions, and collapsed railings, FedEx Field is firmly near the bottom on most rankings of NFL stadiums. Add no hot water to the list of problems that have popped up at the home of the Washington Commanders after the Giants defeated the Commanders 31-19 on Sunday. Both the visiting and home locker rooms were without hot water.
Thanks.
Quote, we had an equipment failure in the main water heater that provides hot water to the field level locker rooms. We can't resolve the matter without completely shutting off the water to the stadium, which is why it couldn't be repaired in game. Commanders head coach Ron Rivera called the day, quote, a low point in his 4-season tenure with the team. And that was before the news about the malfunctioning showers. Doug, those Giants, that's a team that people have circled as a Super Bowl contender.
No, they're horrible.
Talk about Tommy DeVito.
Yeah.
They're going from Illinois now to New Jersey, and the job he's doing is Italian in New Jersey. People talking about Tony Soprano.
Rigatoni, yeah.
God, you lost to Danny DeVito.
Don't you expect, at the very least, hot water at an NFL quality stadium? And what do you do after you play the game? Do you take a cold shower or no shower?
Ooh.
Cold shower.
No shower.
I can't stand under freezing cold water. I can't do it.
And they probably didn't play that hard, so they probably didn't have to take a shower.
I'd rather go home sweaty and take a shower there than stand under cold water.
What about if you're the Giants and you got to head back to
Whole
New York?
trip. I bet that plane smelled.
Smelled like man musk.
Oh!
Maybe it's like my apartment. They got to kick them out of the stadium and go dig up the pipes.
Well, you just would hope that they would look into that before game day. And you know, they probably have 100 people running
How do you think
around
they
that
found
stadium.
out? Some guy took a shower. DeVito took a shower. Said, "Hey, it's cold in here."
Be my guess, yeah. Where's the water?
Bill?
Yeah.
Brian Henson says, yeah, I'd probably shower with Tim.
Oh,
No, you wouldn't be in the stadium, so.
it's one of the worst feelings you can have is to really look forward to the shower.
Oh, Bill.
And you get in there and there's no hot water. It's just horrendous. Although really cold showers are supposed to be very good for you
Yeah, they open up the pores.
and good for inflammation in your body and everything.
Brian Henson with a follow-up text, Doug, as the Colts are on a bye week. Yeah, coming to think of it, I would definitely shower with Tim. Thanks for asking, Doug. That's from
Okay,
Brian
I didn't
Henson.
ask you who you wanted to shower with.
Iggy's Danny DeVito line just got added to Raby's next audio postcard with a laugh track added. That's from Gary Pinkel's cell phone etiquette. Great Danny DeVito bit, you crusty salamander.
Oh.
That's from Big Tuft. That Danny DeVito bit needs to be worked into his open mic set. That's from KG in O-Town. There you go.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Raby didn't do an audio postcard with my all my comedian imitations with laughs behind it.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably being made.
Yeah.
They've been pretty good lately.
He's had some good audio postcards, bro. While you were out, a gentleman by the name of Breezeway want to know if you got laid at Gobble Bowl.
Oh, how'd that go?
No, I did not.
Did you meet anyone? Get any numbers?
Yeah, a couple of girls signed
You
some
did?
pictures.
Who were these gals?
What happened? We need to laugh.
Who were these gals?
Jessica Zahner, who's there every year.
Jessica Zahner. It's a film.
Yeah, she's a cutie. I mean, she's married. I don't know if they swing, but
Oh, that never really mattered to you before, did it?
no, but he's a nice guy.
Oh.
Tara Savella was there again this year with her boyfriend Mike.
And they wanted pictures with you?
No, but a couple of people wanted to sign pictures.
Did they?
Yeah, they knew I had my new glossy, so
Huh. Is this the one with the guitar?
yeah. And I let Andy Hanselman do a lot more calling of numbers this year because I never get to mingle. You know, I'm there for 3 hours calling numbers, and I said, Andy, you want to do some work this year? I'll do a page, you do a page. I'll do a page, you do a page.
Oh, yeah.
So I got to go mingle and talk to
Show
the
yourself
bowlers.
off a little bit?
Nice.
Well, at least say hi and thanks for coming. Take some pictures and, make their day.
Make their day. You had to add that in there. And always stay humble, of course.
So now I didn't get laid. I just went home, made some sloppy joes, and watched Mizzou.
Nice. Fight Tiger.
I'm a big sloppy joe guy. God, I love sloppy joes.
I would not have parlayed a Gobble Bowl with a sloppy Joe.
It's just ground beef with some tomato sauce on a bun.
Some green peppers, some onions, a little bit of spice.
I gotta say, I'm kind of with Iggy. Sloppy Joes are fire, dude.
Really? I don't think I've had a sloppy Joe in 20 years.
Come over tonight, we'll have sloppy joes.
I'm not really interested.
Why?
We'll have some food.
But you don't have to do them from scratch. You can buy the Manwich stuff. It's not as good as scratch, but it's easy. Brown some butter,
Manwich.
throw some Manwich in there, and you got yourself a sloppy joe.
But Little Beer Cats is sending in pictures of him with like a bunch of women at the Grove.
They're
Why
the
don't you
same
stop?
picture.
You're not getting
It's
in
the
there.
he's
same
doing
set
well.
of 4 pictures. It's his one day at the Grove, and he's acting like he just peacocking around.
Act like you're a world
No
Sounds
offense,
like he's
Little Beer
doing
Cat,
well.
but that ain't hitting, dog.
Others are struggling to meet anyone at Gobble Bowl, and here he is scoring big time at
Well,
the Grove.
it's pretty sad when you just go to these places and can I get a picture with you so I can send it in to Tim and he'll talk about me?
I think I'm with Iggy again.
Sads.
But it isn't the same 4 pictures like the last time. Like,
Now that you say that, Plowhawk, that is the case.
Iggy, would you have any tip for young young Playboy types who are trying to follow in your footsteps?
Don't even try.
Oh,
Wow.
Impossible to reach those heights?
He's got no shot.
Too far
He has
gone.
no.
He has sent in the same picture like
Yeah,
a few times.
I think maybe they won't notice. They'll think I got all these girls.
Yeah.
No, you have no game.
He took 5 minutes at the Grove to take as many pictures as possible. He took 4 of them and then sent the 4 he took and then keeps sending them in.
Well, how do you know he's got no game? He's got these pictures.
Well, if he's doing this, what kind of a game is that? I'm going to send pictures. I'm going to send pictures into the fan page, and maybe they'll think I'm cool.
But the game happened to get the picture with the attractive women.
Well, how hard is that?
I don't know. Pretty hard.
I mean, I could walk into a bar of good-looking women and say, "Hey, can I get a picture with you?" They probably know who I am anyway.
Oh, they wouldn't.
When it comes to porn, I'm never going to fail.
They wouldn't know.
But I could find 1 or 2 girls to take a picture with me, and then, hey, look at me. I met a girl. I'm hot. Let me just stop. I would bang you right now if you let me.
Is that one of your lines? Did you ever use that line? Clearly you did, because we have a recording of it.
Correct. I said that to Joan Rivers.
Oh, that's right. And her response was what again?
I'm sick.
She said that would be necrophilia.
Is that what she said?
Some like bordering on necrophilia.
I think she said that before. I said I'd bang
She's
her.
pretty good.
I said, I think you're hot now. I think that'd be bordering on necrophilia. I'd bang you right now if you let me. Well, you got problems. All right, how
What
about
in
your,
exchange?
how about
You
your
play that
daughter?
on Sports Sunday?
Especially over the phone.
How about your daughter? She's still dating that porn star?
Doug?
Her daughter dates a porn star?
She did at one time. I don't know if it was Jessie Jane or
She
not
dated Jessie Jane?
Not Jessie. Who's the porn star with the same name? Pretty much Jessie James, maybe.
There's about 50,000 porn stars. I think that.
I think it's Jessie James.
Have you ever literally gone through like an alphabetical order, like porn star? Like,
I have not. No.
Dude, there are so many Jessies and Janes and
Really?
man, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, they do have a tendency to use the last name.
If you look at Ann's, like the middle and last, there's 1,000. Just Ann's.
That's why Ella Reese is so brilliant, Doug. Who could you possibly think of when you say the name Ella Reese?
I think of Della Reese.
Vivian was the one that really, I mean, nobody were in the V's. She's the
Vivian
only one. in the
DeJour.
Vivian Azure.
She ruined it by retiring.
What's the last name? I mean, your name can make or break you. I mean, Riley Reid is an attractive girl, but if her name was like Susie Smith,
I was waiting for Johnny Johnson.
no,
I was
if it's
waiting
like
for
Susie,
cream cheese.
Susie Smith, she wouldn't be as popular. The name's catchy, like Dillian Harper. She'd made
That's
that.
not her real name?
She got that name because she knew she could turn it into her fans would be her Dillionaires.
What's her real name?
What about Happer?
I can give it a real name. You can
Why
Google
not?
it. You can Google it and find it.
Doug, you can Google it.
I've got a landing strip.
Oh.
There.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know what it's time for. The Design Air Heating and Cooling Email of the Day. And in 9 minutes, Jackson and I got our asses ripped, and they're just waiting for Jackson to walk in there to talk Jackson State. That's all they want, Jackson. You're going to have to be strong and brave today.
Oh boy, you're telling me.
Not going to be easy. Wow, wow, wow. What do you... Doug, I just read what's in the
That must be a Kevin Miller because you can't read any of the words.
Wow, wow, wow. What do you to kick off a 3-show week just jam-packed with important topics? A defining Mizzou drive and win against Florida. The Blues' up and down yo-yo season continues out on the West Coast. The Cardinals miss out on the first starting pitching domino of the offseason. Nah, fam. Let's talk about Strode's DFS team for the RSM Classic.
Come on, we spent 10 seconds on it and we talked about all those other topics.
What does RSM stand for and where was it played? Your guess is as good as mine. But let's check in with Justin Saw, Iggy's pick to top 10 this weekend. Great weekend for Saw at -8. Great weekend, but unfortunately it was closer to the cut line than a top 10. But keep your head up, Ken. You'll get him at the Hero World Classic, assuming Jamie Burkhardt refills your account. You'd think now he'd pivot to the big Mizzou win, but nope. Now we're going to check in with Iggy and his merry band of women who help him hang posters and put bobbleheads and baseballs on a table. Without their help, The Cure-themed living room just wouldn't hit the same, and the prize table at Gobble Bowl would be in absolute shambles. But real talk, Strode. Great job on Gobble Bowl. Sounds like another big success, and although you missed a third of the show today, your work on that great charity can't be denied. Congrats, sir. That's from If Young Pop Pop Don't Trust You, I'ma Shoot You.
If young Pop Pop don't trust you, I'ma shoot you.
I've seen Bobby Orr go coast to coast through an entire team and score a goal top shelf, but that pales in comparison to Tim's show today. Jordan came back and wasn't the same player. Tim took 2 days off and just nailed it all damn day. But this email is about my first fisting experience. I was so hopped up about the Mizzou win, I ran up to Sunset Hills Bass Pro Shop to look at the tranquility of the fishes. As I wandered into the jams aisle, I noticed a majestic man, perfectly pressed khakis and shiny loafers. He had a cart filled to the brim with Uncle Buck's apple butter. That stuff any good, I asked? With a sheepish grin, he pulled off his shirt and lathered up his man nipples with an entire jar. You tell me. Now come over here and lick these bad boys off. I was scared and turned away. As I did, he pounced on me. Dude's nickname must have been Coco because I immediately had a monkey on my back and in my kitchen. And by kitchen, I mean he immersed his entire jam-covered fist in my sputter gutter.
Okay, that's enough.
That's
Who was it, Tim?
Mayanne. And then the last name is Mones?
Mayanne Monet. She's new. And also suspended. Suspended a period of 2 days' time, and her name is going into the suspension log, even as we speak.
And young. Things that make me uncomfortable. Pot Rose talking about old country and Pot Rose salivating over post-charity event sloppy J's. Max Ick. Gross. Thanks. That's from #1 Asian intern Brian Henshin, a.k.a. ASMR Jesse Jane. No. Sorry, Jesse James. No, wait. Jesse Jane. Without the Y. Susie Smith. Whatever. It's not important. But your name can make or break you. Not unlike this deal. The next 12 to sign up for my YouTube premium page and turn on auto renew receive a free can of Manwich. Meat and buns not included. It's just the sauce. It's like Cousin Eddie with the hamburger helper.
Oh, yeah.
I talked about that 3 minutes ago. Why don't you put a little more effort into your emails and not wait till the end of the show?
Okay. Brian Henshin.
I am so excited about the year-end awards. I'm really hoping to get some aggressive hand play from Tim's pincer near the dumpster. That text from Little Beer Cats got me thinking. So here's my list of the most deserving candidates. Texter of the Year, Arbor Day. Listener of the Year, Slam Dunk for Buck Swope. Email of the Year, JV Golf Coach, Obvi. Best caller, Natty Nate for his lone phone call in February. The Trash the Cardinal front office. The Where Are They Now trophy should go to Spread Your Legs guy. I genuinely miss when he offered large sums of money to watch Doug and Iggy make out. But remember, he's just goofy. He's not gay. You guys on the day should be eligible for some awards, too. For instance, hottest TMA host goes to Mr. Tim McKirkin, a.k.a. Mr. Perfect. Fewest drops played while under the influence. That goes to Plowsy. Darren should also win most calories consumed while wearing children's-sized clothing. Jackson should walk away with most likely to wear a bulky yellow diaper in a foreign country. The Anti-Bo Hart Award goes to Iggy. If ever there was someone who did not deserve the Hustle Award, it's the chronically late guy who sits down to pee. Obviously, Iggy will also be executing a clean sweep in what I'm calling the Big Three Awards. Most likely to have an awkwardly public feud with a porn star, most likely to get catfished by artificial intelligence, and most likely to tune out his co-host so he can post a picture of the Diamonds Direct building. I'll see you all on December 14th. Okay. That's from the JV Golf Coach.
JV Golf Coach.
And finally, picture this. You land your first big boy job at a big boy corporation. Now, close your eyes and tell me what you see. Is it a large footprint conglomerate which mirrors the innovation, values, and community spirit that drives the region? Is it a fancy building with painted walls, controllable temperatures, and an overall feeling of safety, and knowing that once you walk through these doors, you won't be asked to do anything unethical, unsavory, or borderline illegal for the benefit of 18 guys who all spent time at Cletus's halfway house for the dumb and unemployable? Now, open your eyes. Would you be surprised to learn this big boy job at a big boy corporation keeps a little hidden, non-temperature controlled animal crate of a room buried deep in the bowels of the building's crawl space where a poorly wallpapered HD2 studio broadcasts from? And would you be shocked to learn the studio boasts such amenities as being 300 to 400 square feet smaller than the first studio they were in before they, quote, got their own studio. And it's strategically positioned within arm's length of the janitor's piss bucket.
Oh.
That audibly infiltrates the show's low wattage signal. How about learning that it's in this very room where new account managers must visit to be hazed into answering questions regarding the circumference of their hogs, if they can shake their asses for the 7 divorced stay-at-home dads who watch the show on YouTube, and if they're willing to publicly explain their criminal history on air. And on your way out, on your very first day, you'll be forced to make eye contact with the warm bag of bones, peer pressuring his coworkers into pretending to be interested in the vintage garbage he's inconveniently strewn across the very table where you'll be eating your lunches for the rest of your career there. Welcome to the workforce, Pledge. We look forward to accepting your resignation letter in 3 to 6 months' time. Doug, that comes from Gunter.
Oh, German fella. Gunter.
That's what we have for the Design Air Heating and Cooling email today. What you got?
Well, I think it's between Gunter and the JV golf coach. I'll go with Gunter, I guess.
Yeah, we were all excited when they said, hey, you guys are getting a new studio. I said, great. And just kind of shoved back in.
Fine.
I got to go Gunter.
Gunter has won the Design Air Heating and Cooling email of the day. Gunter's dangerous, Doug.
He is. Yeah.
Gunter is a guy that if he's playing, he can win it all.
He can stay healthy.
He can stay healthy. That's always been the issue with him. He's like Jason Day. Jackson and I are going to go get healthy, and we're going to get our asses ripped for an hour on Balloon Party. Switch over to the 101 ESPN channel on YouTube. That's where we'll be, and they'll be talking it over the tiny peepees in there, and he runs things. Time for us to shut it down for the Plowhawk, for Action Jackson, for Kenneth Iggy Strode, for my brother Kevin, for Douglas Alvin Vaughn. I'm Tim McKernan. This has been TMA, presented by Brown & Crouppen from the Michelob Ultra Studios.
Hi, this is Doug Vaughn for Soundstorm.